Kuva99, happy Thursday to you. You well?
Happy Thursday, yeah. Happy Spurs Aftermath Day. It's a nice one for a change.
It is. It is a nice one. I mean, I do kind of feel like I feel like I missed a memo, and maybe Spurs won the Champions League last night. I do feel like everyone's just literally gone. This fan base, right? I'll just jump straight into it. This fan base, first and foremost, if anyone didn't understand the title of my show, right, then you clearly don't know me well enough. The title of my show, Kuva, is Where Are All the ENIC and Levy Outers Now? Come on, let's be having ya. Now, of course, this is a sarcastic title because of all the aftermath of beating Crystal Palace last night. Now, Kuva, as you know, I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on the Twitterverse. I'm not on Facebook. But I am in a million WhatsApp groups where meme after meme and picture after picture are sent through. And honestly, mate, listen, I'm happy we won. But honestly, people's relief is now manifesting into, oh, my God, where are the Levy out people? You're all wrong. Look how great we were tonight. You're in the mud. I mean, talk about an overreaction, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, even in the what are we supposed to do as a Levy outer? We still love our team. We still love our club. So if we're given a breath of fresh air while we feel like we're drowning, we're going to take it. A win is nice. Goals are nice. Enjoying seeing players that were criticised or not performing well getting a goal for themselves or getting a couple of assists in. It's all good. Why would we be unhappy about that? Yeah, I think this is part of one. I mean, I was telling you before the stream started. There's loads I really want to say about it, but it's the whole toxic sort of atmosphere. This isn't toxic Levy out. This is toxic atmosphere across the board. Yeah. The arguments are just way out of control. People are saying things they surely should not mean. Really, really harsh things. Calling for the death of somebody and things ridiculous. It's a really bad message to send. If you're trying to get people on board, you've got to maintain some sort of level of civility about it, even if it's basic level. I understand, though, everybody gets angry. I know I do. And when you do get angry, you sometimes say things that are, a bit out of order. Perhaps you didn't really want to say it, even fall out with some people you don't want to fall out with. It happens, but let's at least cut out the really silly stuff.
Let's be honest, right? When all is said and done, and this is from people that live on YouTube, like me and you, we live for talking about football, right? When all is said and done, and I know this sounds it is football, right? That's where the line has to be drawn for me. The calling for, I want the owner to die, or, when Lewis dies, I want Levy to die. I saw people yesterday, I'm not going to name names, I saw people yesterday going, oh, David Gold passed away. Why couldn't that be Levy? Whoa. Do I want Levy and ENIC at this club? No. Am I ever going to wish any harm or people to go to their house and riot at their house? No, this is not the way. That's not how you influence people that you want to join you in a bandwagon. I mean, look, much to discuss today. First of all, I want to discuss Jamie O'Hara's comments yesterday, which is causing a lot of news. I want to talk about the overhyping. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but the overhyping of players that have played well for 30 minutes or for an hour yesterday, i.e. Hill and Sarr, and already our fans have put them from, oh, they're crap, they're not good enough, to they're the next best thing. I feel like we'll talk about this later, but I feel like we're not learning. We've done this with so many players. We're not learning to just say, yeah, they've done well, let them build and grow. Want to talk about the kind of toxicness on social media at the moment, where the moment Spurs win, it's where are all the ENIC out people, as though they suddenly dropped their beliefs because we beat a very average Crystal Palace team. So which one of those would you like to start with, Kuva? You're the guest. Where would you like to start?
Let's go with the let's just go deal with the nasty bits first, with the level of toxicity that you see, especially on the likes of Twitter, which is
Sure.
always going to be the granddaddy of it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's important as a Levy outer like myself and as yourself, Savva, and lots of others. There's a reputation of, oh yeah, we're just there, rowdy troublemakers,
Right.
bad things for the club, and it's far from the opposite.
Yeah.
We're people who are perfectly reasonable. We don't bite. We get angry at times because we're passionate about our club. The whole Levy out thing isn't about disrupting and hatred for the owners for the sake of it. It's because we want better for our club. And I don't want to be sat here saying people that are, deemed as Levy in, they're separate from me and they don't deserve it. I want them to come with me. I want them to have the same things I want. Let's all have a better club. So I think it's important we are really civil with what we say to each other. I think there's got to be a level of respect, but there's also got to be an understanding that tempers will boil over at times. We are passionate about what we care about, and it's going to get a bit dicey at times. It goes with the territory. I think the overall message, though, is we are looking to improve our club. If you're going to attack us, are you against that? Are you against improvement at our club? Or are you really just saying, I don't agree with the message. I think we can do it another way. If you're gonna do that, I've got no problem. Let's have a talk about it. I think I'm more than capable of putting up an argument that will sway a lot of people towards the reasons ENIC should go rather than the reason ENIC should stay. Because from my point of view, it ties in with the football decisions. And at the end of the day, we're a football club. If somebody wants to counter argue with all the financial things that Levy's got right, I'm going to agree with what they say. He's done well on that front. There's no argument. But has it really generated what we want to see on the pitch? No. That's where we're at.
I think one of the key things, let me just address that. Lots of people in the chat saying that they follow me on Instagram. If you do, I'd be worried because I don't have an Instagram account. So if you are following anyone called Savva or Savva Talks, whatever, it's not me. So if anyone wants to quickly check that and let me know if they can still see an account, because I haven't got one. I think for me, Coover, it's this insinuation as well that if you are ENIC out or Levy out, or that one of the same thing, that you want the club to lose, right? That's the big thing for me. So last night, the moment Spurs started winning, I was watching the game, but I also had Henry's watch along on in the background, and I started seeing in the comments, Savva's in the mud, and I'm thinking to myself, why am I in the mud? Because my football team is winning a game. That's the mentality for me, where this becomes really, really silly and people don't understand the Levy ENIC out movement. It's not about our team not winning games. It's the polar opposite. It's about wanting your team to do well, but not sporadically. So the thing for me, Coover, is this. Last night, we've been in terrible form, right? We've been in terrible form from before the World Cup break, coming over into this, and we got a good win, which for me was very much a relief.
Yeah.
I'm getting now on YouTube, oh my God, you're not even happy we won. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I'm relieved we won. But it's people telling other people, you don't want us to win. You didn't react in the right way. It's crazy, isn't it? Mad.
It's especially when you look back at how that match unfolded last night. Started off well, then went really sluggish, lethargic, and Palace were all over us for the rest of the first half. This is the common trend. All that was different is they didn't take a 1 or 2 goal lead. Otherwise, it would have been exactly what we've been seeing time and time again throughout the season. Let's enjoy it because it did turn out to be a win. Let's enjoy it because there were a few goals and some of the players did well.
Yep,
but let's not get carried away that it's suddenly all fixed. It isn't. I'm going to have a rude awakening against the likes of the scum when they come to our place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, I saw all sorts last night. Now, bearing in mind, I'm not even on social media yet. People want to talk about me on social media, and then, funny enough, people send it to me. Oh my God, they're talking about you. And nowadays, I'm like, oh, are they? Cooper, when I first met you, I used to be really worried. Oh my God, they're talking about me on. Now I'm like, oh, cool, keep talking about me. More people will follow my channel. But what I'm hearing is funny things like, I'm not going to name names. I think that's unfair. But watching channels last night, I'm hearing, oh my God, this is completely the turning point, or this is the game that makes the owners back him, or ENIC out people in the mud, or see, Conte is going to sign a new contract. And it's like, whoa, how have we all deciphered that information from a 45 minutes of football where we won? I don't understand how people's narratives just do this all day. In, out, in, out, in, out. Love Conte, hate Conte, love Conte, hate Conte, love the owner. I just couldn't deal with that in my own mind if that was my thought pattern, Cooper.
Yeah, I agree as well. The other thing that strikes me as very funny is not funny. It's kind of sad in a way. We got the first match back from the World Cup. A draw against Brentford, same as we always do. Concede the 2 goals, then come back. Then lose against Villa. Then when we do pick up a win, rather than thinking it's a good thing, there's a lot of a flack comes to the Levy outside saying, where are you now? But they're not spotting that you can use exactly the same argument on them when we weren't winning in the previous 2 matches.
Yeah.
It's all pointless, isn't it? It's a daft thing to say. So I'm not going to respond to that and really say I'm right, you're wrong. I'll just point out that it's a crazy thing. It's we're still here. Levy out's still here. I think what I'm trying to do to change the way I've been approaching it over the last year or so. I'm more active on Twitter now, so there's some more arguments about, but I'll engage with people. I'll give examples like, say, the caller from the cheese ring. I regularly disagree with loads that they say, but we're having a perfectly civil discussion on what's been happening on the ENIC out front in the last few days at the moment. Some others join in that are clearly anti-Levy out, I'll say, rather than Levy in. They're people that don't really have a sort of pro-ENIC agenda. They're just, they don't really get what we're all about. So I'm having discussions with them as well. We'll keep it civil. There's a general agreement that some of the things that are being said from both sides are just well out of order. It's turned into a very nasty little argument at times. I think that's where we're all losing sight, and that goes from whichever side of the fence you're on, whichever your paper is.
Look, this is the thing. Listen, I'll beat the drum all day long about ENIC and Levy out. But what I can't do is I can't turn around to anyone who's ENIC in and go, you're less of a supporter, right? I can't. It's not right. Yeah, okay. I think they're wrong. That's life, right? You're always going to have opinions where you think you're right, the other person you think is wrong. That's fine. But things I'm seeing from last night, it just really makes me laugh. I said it to you last night as well. I kind of feel like, did we win a secret competition last night by winning that game or something? Because everyone's going on as though we shouldn't have beaten a team, and we did. Like, we're playing Crystal Palace. Let's be really honest. No offense to them. They're a decent little outfit with some good players. But why are we going on as though something wonderful happened? A master event occurred. No, it was a good win. It was a good win against teams that we tend to beat, right? We tend to beat the teams in the bottom half. So I don't want to seem ungrateful, Cooper. Great win. We said it last night. Wonderful win. Monkey off the back. Brilliant. But it's just got to the stage now where I was sent all these screenshots of people posting about where are the toxic Spurs fans, and then those toxic Spurs fans posting back going, one game doesn't change a thing, and here's videos of the fans singing Levy out even at 4-0, and then people going, well, you're the ones wrong with this club. And I thought, Jesus Christ, all of this because we've won a game 4-0. Like, it's madness. It is absolutely madness. And I'm not blaming Levy Imp. I'm blaming both sets of the argument.
Yeah.
Going about it the wrong way.
Yeah, but we're passionate about our club, aren't we? There's always going to be arguments about things, but it tends to be a case now of that perceived idea of there's a Levy out camp, there's a Levy in camp, and it's not entirely like that. There's some that are extreme on each side, but there's a lot of people in the middle that agree with parts of both.
Right, sure.
I think it's important we just keep focusing on why we are taking this stance. What are the reasons we want Levy out? I think as long as we keep repeating those and we keep repeating them regularly and sensibly, people will come over to what we'd like them to come over to, which is a better run club. That is it at the end of the day. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I'm not necessarily Levy out. That's the weird bit. I'm just part of the movement that wants to invoke change in this club. So if there was some radical shift in the way Levy ran it, and total revamp of the way we structure the footballing side of it, I could buy into that. I could. I think he could go a long way to repairing a lot of a fractured fan base and a bit of belief in him. But at the moment, I don't see it happening, which is why I'm very much Levy out at the moment. Ball's in his court. He can do it. I can't change that by myself. I'm just going to join in with people that voice their concerns.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'm going to read, you've seen this today. I'm going to read, I'm not going to say who, this was what somebody tweeted last night. And this is what absolutely baffles me about people is everyone gets lumped into one basket. So if you are ENIC out, you must be this age, right? If you are ENIC in, you must be this. Right. Here's what I mean. I'm not going to say who, but you have got the screenshot. I sent it to you this morning. It says, I often wonder how many of the anti-ENIC crowd are too young. We'll come to that in a minute. Are too young to remember what we were like when Levy took over. Also note, relegated Manchester City. We could easily have been the next Sunderland, Middlesbrough or Derby. All big clubs, but where are they now? Now, this was accompanied with a screenshot of the league table from the day they took over, from the season before they took over. And the league table in 2001 shows that Tottenham Hotspur was sitting in 12th position. Yeah. Right. So we were in 12th position and we were 14 points off of European football. Mm-hmm. Now, let's pick this apart, Cooper. First and foremost, I wonder how many of the crowd are too young. Now, I don't know about you, Cooper. I'm 40, right?
Yeah, I'm 51, mate.
Right. So I think we were both very aware of Tottenham Hotspur's surroundings and league positions because we were going to the games in 2001, right? We were grown adults in 2001. Maybe not grown, but I was an adult in 2001, right? Yeah. Going to games, right? Secondly, what most of the people I seem to know that are the biggest ENIC out people don't tend to be any of the younger generation. There's a few, but most of them, when you look at, they won't mind me saying their names. When I look at Brian Daigle, when I look at Stell, I look at you, me, Bob Spur, there's too many to mention, you know, Eugene, all these people. None of them are, sorry guys, none of us are spring chickens. All of us were watching Spurs from the late 80s, mid 80s, early 80s, whatever it may be. So this whole notion that if you hate ENIC, you don't remember anything is nonsense. The second part of this, Coover, is, and I'll let you go on a rant on this in a minute, is, all right, we were 12th, right? We're talking nearly a quarter of a century ago, right? At the moment, we're 5th. If we're going to base it purely on league position, what we're saying, because we rised 7 places in the table in 23 years, coming up to 22 years, that the club is ultimately a much better place to be. I mean, pick the bones out of that for me, mate. There's a lot in there.
Right. Easy for me. And, you know, people have said this before. If you're going to accept one thing that Levy and ENIC have done, you've got to accept all of it. And I do. We are in a better financial state than we were that 22 years ago. That's a fact. We are also we have much better facilities. We have a great ground. These are facts. I think everybody's happy with that side of it. But then you look at how has that translated to the football, which is, of course, the most important part for the majority of us anyway. And you have to say we've been elevated to in and around that sort of 6th place spot, hovering around there since, which is okay. But we first started getting Champions League football 12 years ago. And what has it got us since then? What is this model of how we run the club really done since then? We're still scraping 4th now. We get above that. We get to the point where we're challenging for the league title. And this great infrastructure that we've set up is actually holding us back from challenging at that point. When a little bit more investment could have got us over the line, there was nothing. This is the problem. It's the long-term goals of ENIC. It's just to hold us in this space and think everything's good, the money's coming in, and we've got a club up in the top 6. I think we should be doing more than that. I think a lot of fans think the same thing. If you get into those positions, you're supposed to strike while the iron's hot. It's the obvious thing. Have we done that? No. Do we have a coherent strategy on the pitch that we can say we've got an identity, we've got a way of playing, we've got a style of management, we've got a style of play? No with all of that. Can we say all this money that's being generated has bought players that consistently upgrade the first team? No, we can't. Exactly. We get random selection, players that come in, youngsters never kick a ball for us. Total waste of money. If we had this coherent strategy going forward, we'd be seeing regular investment in the first team. And no, it doesn't have to be 500 million a season. It doesn't have to be a sugar daddy club. We can do it with what we've got now. The reason we're in a real state right now is because we've had long-term neglect with that first team. We're buying in substandard players to puff out a squad that isn't good enough in the first place to win. That's the problem. Getting players that improve that first team and just keep doing it. Even if it's 2 a season, you will get there eventually. But we haven't done that. So we're now in a spot where we need massive investment to catch up on all those years where we've been in decline, where we've just let it slide, where it doesn't matter. It's wrong. This is not what you should be doing with a football team. It's all well and good to back up how well the business is doing, but I don't cheer businesses. Right. I don't go to Tesco's and give them a high five on everybody. I don't cheer them through the window. Well, actually, that's not true. Cashier number 9 is actually, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Oh, I get you. I get you completely.
But this is it. What is the ambition of the club? And Conte has alluded to this as well. What do we want? 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th? What does the club want to do? What's success? Right. It's funny how he doesn't say first. Funny how he doesn't say win a cup. Funny how he doesn't say win the Champions League. It's none of that. He starts at 4th because that's the level of ambition of the club.
It's for me. It's this. And first of all, let me go. I'll do a couple of super chats. Actually, I should. Wolves, Finland. Thank you as always. A really big supporter. Thank you very much. Yeah, stand with you, buddy. Levy out. And Gogomar, always lovely and always in the chat. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Please do subscribe. We're hunting down the 3,000 mark. We're flying at the moment. We're hunting down a lot more content to come. My aim, just so you know, is in 3 years, I'm going to be a full-time YouTuber and have no job. My missus laughs at me, but we're going to do it. Kuva, so please do subscribe. Please, if I could get another 5 to 10 today from anyone in this chat, I'd be much appreciated. And go over and subscribe to Free Spurs Boys with Kuva and the Kang. And Bobby K should start paying me for how much I pitch his channel. The thing for me, Kuva, is this. Is if we're going to have that whole game of, well, look where we were then and look where we are now, right? I get it if we were doing that over a 5-year period, right? So if you were Man City when their owners first came in and you went, look where they were, look where they are. You go, pooh. But nearly a quarter of a century, isn't that the time when you start going, well, you've been here a long time now. And to be fair to them, this is where I always stick up for ENIC and Levy in a weird, perverse way. They told us. They did tell us this is what they were going to do, didn't they? They did tell us it was about finance. Yeah. They have said numerous times. Levy came out 3 years ago in a statement and said, there's no what did he say? There's no what's the word I'm looking
There's
for?
no passion. There's no passion in this. It's business only. It's
He
it's a
did, but he
financial
said
thing.
there's no correlation to spending and success. And you're thinking, right, how many more things does this guy have to say that tell you football is not the driver here? How many more activities do we need to
Also,
see?
I'll add another one was when we were close to winning the league under Pochettino, and so close, but then the spending just stopped.
Right.
And I remember Levy saying, we're now at a point where to maintain this level of investment, we require success on the pitch. Other clubs, ambitious clubs, say to maintain this level of success requires investment. We do it the other way around. That's why we don't get anywhere. It's like we have to win to justify the money that's going to help us win. It makes no sense. We're literally that stifled club. We can't grow further under ENIC. It's been the same for at least the last 12 years. Like I said, the moment we broke into the top four, that should have been the stepping stone to push further. We did a little bit, but then just it all falls away because the investment doesn't remain.
Do you know what? I feel like with a lot of the ENIC in crowd, so to speak, I think a lot of it with them now is saving face. And what I mean by this is for years, you know, and I'm not saying this in an angry or a horrible way, but for years it was just you wait. There's going to be that moment. There's going to be the switch when we've been in the stadium, when we get the Champions League, when we get the world-class manager. And I think that they've all thought that there was going to be a time, Kuva, where the owners went, right, this is it now. Like everybody did last summer. You know, there was it's funny because for all the people that were, you know, all the people at the beginning of the summer going, oh my God, the 150 million cash injection, you know, plus player sales, this is the window. I think people thought that moment was going to happen last year, then the year before, and do you know what I mean? And it's not arrived. It's never arrived. And even then, for example, like when we speak to and big up Irish Hotspur, if you watch this, like when I've had chats with David and he says to me, look, he thinks this summer will be when we sprinkle the stardust. But you've got the manager coming out going, that's not the philosophy. That's not the vision. That's not the philosophy. So what do we do now? If ENIC stay, what happens? Forget that you're an ENIC out person. If ENIC stay at this club right now, this is it. This is the model. Young players, or maybe a couple of older ones on a free, medium wages, and we try and get fourth. And that's why games like last night make our fan base go delirious. Last night is an everyday occurrence to the bigger clubs. Yeah. They're not celebrating last night like the way we did. They're not all going, oh my God, everything's great again. So a bit of a rant there, but do you think it could be that they thought it was going to change, but nothing actually has? We're still acting the same, but with a bigger stadium.
Yes, I think the thing to remember is I don't think there was a point. If anybody's been supporting the club for the last 22 years, you know, since ENIC's taken over, I think it would be fair to say the vast majority, if not all of us, at one point thought this takeover's great. We're going somewhere now. We all used to be ENIC in. That's the thing. The question is now, it just seems a case of at what point do you start realizing that we're not getting further? We're not progressing anymore. We've grown as far as we'll go in terms of things that are going to improve on the pitch. We might get a few more bits of finance off the pitch, bump up things. Maybe we get the ground sponsor. Is it going to make a big difference to the way our performance on the pitch? No, because we invest it so badly. It's just it's a complete lack of focus on what's needed in the team, and complete lack of focus on what's needed to manage the team and how that manager needs to work. It's just the more and more people are waking up to it now, but it's been a slow process, and I'm not blaming. Yeah, I'm not going to blame anybody that's been pro ENIC in their time period, because
Yeah.
they have got a fantastically powerful PR machine.
Absolutely. But
yeah.
are you? I want to say, are you surprised? I don't think you will be, but are you surprised or baffled in any sort of way how people think that such a big opinion can change on the turn of one win? Are you? It's almost like the EV. Listen, it works both ways. ENIC outers seem. Listen, I'm not on social media, but ENIC outers seem to wait for Spurs to lose a game, and it's, oh my god, we've lost a game. ENIC out, Levy out. It's just disgusting. What have these owners done? Right. Then on the flip side, you got last night. Where are all the ENIC? Where are all the ENIC outers? Where are they? Where are you? You've gone quiet. It's like it can't be this extreme game by game. Surely people's opinions, adults' opinions, don't flip flop from game to game. Over time, I get it, Kuva, right? Opinions change. Over time, opinions change. Right? But it can't be, oh, we played well tonight. Yeah, I'm Conte in. Oh, we played badly last week. I'm Conte out. Or ENIC in, ENIC out. Does that baffle you, the human element of that?
It does, actually. Actually, can I respond to somebody in the comments?
Sure, yeah.
It's Bradys Ensel, because he's been making a few comments now, and he's saying what, like we're muzzling his voice. No, we're not. It's just that we've been talking. I haven't got around to it, mate. One of the earlier comments he's got, sorry, I haven't got the time on it. He's saying Levy in because he got the best coach in the world, Conte. It's true whether you like it or not. Sorry, mate, that's not true. That's an opinion.
Yeah, it's an
I would say Pep is the best coach in the world at the moment. Plays the best football and wins things. Some people might say it's Mourinho because he wins everywhere. Some people might say Ancelotti is. It's opinion. That is not fact just because you think so.
Just because you've said it doesn't make it fact. By the way, Bayern Munich have just signed Daley Blind on a free transfer. Just thought, if anyone cares, I don't know. I was just chucking it out there. You're right. You're right, Kuva. It is opinion. No, listen. I mean, Brady, if anything, this show doesn't stifle your opinions. If anything, you're welcome to come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome to come on. And this is the thing. When I hear that ENIC outers stifle opinions, ENIC outers are rude. Listen, here we are, YouTube channel. Come on, talk to us in a nice way about why ENIC are good. Put the argument forward that they're good because they went and got Conte. And then what that allows Kuva to do is go, well, actually, they got Conte because of X, right? That's how it works. But you can't accuse Kuva of stifling you when you've got a platform here to voice your opinion. So let me know, do you want to come on and have your voice unmuzzled, if that's a word? Unmuzzled?
Yeah. I'm quite happy to debate anybody on it. I'd like to think I'm good enough that I can either persuade people that I've got a valid point, or at least give them something to think about, even if they disagree. Because all of the things I base my opinion on and why I want Levy out, I think there's validity to it. I think you can point to reasons why, such as the fact that we make top 4 12 years ago and haven't really kicked on from that. It hasn't brought anything further. We've upgraded the ground. It hasn't really led to the level of investment in the team being better. The money itself, anybody can spend, but you need to be wise to invest. Spending is done by any idiot that's got some money. Right. What we do is spend badly. Right. And the investment is the thing that's supposed to give you long-term benefit, simply doesn't. We buy the Unkudu, the Njais, yeah.
I've got some stats we'll go into later on the spending, Kuva. Can I just say, what I'd love to know is, look, I mean, why not? Let's do this. In the chat, I'm starting to see conversation about who's the best manager, the best coach. It's always going to be opinion. Let us know, who's the best manager? Who's the best coach? What do you reckon? Why? For those who think it's Conte, cool. Put your reason forward. Why is it Conte? Why is Conte better than Pep? Why is Pep better than him? Why is Klopp better than? Why is Zidane, Ancelotti, Mourinho? Have the debate. be good to each other. And the one thing, just before I let you talk, Kuva, is the coin. I agree with you, but do you know the problem with this sentence? You could replace the word Pep and put any name you want in there.
Yeah.
And that sentence is true. Yeah. No one's winning under this ownership. Anyone that thinks Conte is going to win a trophy under this ownership, it applies. Pep wouldn't win under this ownership, but you could have the question mark: would he play better football? I don't know. All the variables. Would Pep join in the first place? You know, there's all these variables. Sorry, Kuva, as you were.
Lost train of thought as well now. Just noticing Martin Lund's in the chat as well saying no need to complain, we're in Champions League, Arsenal aren't. Are we going to win the Champions League, mate? No, we're not, are we? We're in the Champions League. Like I said, we're in the Champions League 12 years ago. Where's the kick-on point from that? We had a really good run in the Champions League 12 years ago. What do we do now? Scrape out of the group stages in a very weak group that we're all cheering about. And that's great, is it? How's the AC Milan game going to go? What happens if we're out cheaply knocked out then? And we go out of the FA Cup cheaply as well? Then we're what? 6th, 7th in the league? What are we cheering for exactly? I don't see progression here. This is just Conte doesn't see progression here. Like I said, if he in that statement when he said, "What are we chasing?" 4th is the top number he mentioned. He doesn't say anything about 3rd, 2nd, or winning.
Let me ask you a question, Kuva. Right? This is where I can't wrap my head around. You get people who are so quick to tell you Antonio Conte is the best manager for the club. He's this, he's that, he's that. Okay, cool. We accept that. We'll take that on board. Right? But then that very same man is telling you in as many words as the same thing we're telling you about the owners, but yet those people don't want to go against the owners. The man that we are being told is the greatest manager we could get, and we can't get a better manager if we sack him, right? I'm not saying we should, by the way, but we can't get a better manager if he leaves, is the manager sitting there, like you just said, Kuva. He's not talking about winning leagues. He's talking about miracles to make top 4, right? If that doesn't tell these fans where we're at as a club, that a serial winner is telling us, nothing's going to make them sit up, Kuva. 22 years hasn't made them realise it. Jose hasn't made them realise it. Poch hasn't made them. Conte now can't make them realise it. So if they're happy to trudge through, if they truly believe another manager is going to come in and win things, which is very different, by the way, for anyone who's about to say, "Oh, I say Conte should walk." Yeah, because I don't think anyone's going to win here. But there are people out there that believe ENIC are doing the right thing and that a manager will win under this ownership. That's what makes me laugh, Kuva. I mean, do you see that?
Yeah, as well. And Martin Lunds again. He says Conte is at fault, though. Why does he always get no criticism? If you watch this show, you'll realise he does on a regular basis from both of us.
I get criticism for giving him criticism.
Yeah, same. But never mind. It's assumptions, mate. I mean, it's that there are reasons to have a point of view, but at the end of the day, if you can't back them up with anything, you haven't got much of an argument. Now, there's a lot of people that will go on the Levy inside of things. They've got some argument because they can point to the stadium and everything, all the financial side of it. That at least is an argument. It's not one I agree with, because at the end of the day, I'm always going to pick the football side of it, and you can't justify that with what they've been doing.
Would you like to take this, Kuva? This is a very interesting one, right? So he said, Brady Zenzel again said, what is the barometer to judge Spurs' success?
Mm-hmm.
Were Spurs ever the top dog? Currently, Spurs are performing better than the era before Levy. Ask yourself, when did Spurs last win the league? Now, suppose the thing with this, Kuva, is when we say performing better than the last era, now you've got more questions than answers. Performing better, what, league positions? Yes. Performing better trophies? No. When did Spurs last win the league? I don't think that's got anything to do with it because we haven't won the league for coming up to what, 61 years? 62 years?
Yeah.
Were Spurs ever the top dog? I don't think it's about that for the Levy out people. I think no one, I'll let you answer this, Coop, but for me, Brady, no one is saying Spurs should be the best club in the world. No one is saying we should win a league title every year. But what we're saying is we want the owners to try. We want the owners to try and compete, to try and become the best for a year, to try and win something for a year. So I'd love to know what you mean by that, Brady, about the era before Levy. Kuva, where do you stand on all that?
Which era do you want to pick? Do you want to cherry pick just under sugar where we're recovering from near bankruptcy? Or do you want to pick the period between, say, 81 and 91, where we win 3 FA Cups, a UEFA Cup, go into other European semi-finals, and that's despite being banned from Europe. English clubs being banned from Europe for a big portion of that decade. Yeah. Then we got into another FA Cup final, multiple League Cup semi-finals, trophies, silverware. That's the barometer. If you're going to pretend to be a big club, well, if you're going to pretend to be a big club, you're us. But if you're going to be a big club, you win things. A club of our size and stature and our world renown that has been doing so well financially under Levy and ENIC has built its way up to this fantastic stadium, and all the bragging about our sponsorship deals are even eclipsing the likes of Manchester City for the first time. Where's it all going? How is that money being used to improve our team? I agree when people say it's entitlement to expect trophies. Yeah, it is. But it is not entitlement to expect our club to at least be competing for these trophies on a regular basis. And 1 League Cup in 22 years, in my opinion, is bloody pathetic for this club.
For sure. For any club that counts itself as a big club, like our fans will tell you we're a big club. Listen, for fairness, again, Martin, I'm someone who completely agrees with this. I said this last night. What I love is when we win games like last night, it's you've got to back Conte. He's amazing. Look how brilliant it was. And whilst I'm not doubting that he needs backing, when we lose a game, it's, oh my God, the players aren't good enough. There's nothing he could have done. And I think what we've seen, Martin, from when did Spurs play? Was it Sunday we played Villa or Saturday? I can't remember. Sunday. What we've seen from Sunday through to Wednesday night is that we can play when we want to. Yeah, is that we do have the players capable of breaking down teams, and that there's always a line in the middle. There's always people are either there or there. For me, you can always meet here, and that's what I'm saying. It can't be that his players were good enough to beat Palace, but they're not good enough to beat Villa at home. I'm not having that at all. That doesn't work. So I agree with you on that one, mate. Kuva, you're right. This is a club that we won trophies every decade. Yeah. I'm not saying we were a league winning team every decade, right? But we won trophies, whether it be the FA Cup, the League Cup, the UEFA Cup, the Super Cup, whatever it was, we were winning every decade. Spurs fans now, that for me, what I'll call the ENIC excusers, will start putting these random conversations together of, well, if you look at the average league position since they've taken over, okay, an average league position isn't success. An average league position is progress, would we say, but not success.
A gauge of ability, I'd like to look at it as.
Sure. But as a fan, if I go down the pub, Kuva, and let's say I'm with a United fan, a Liverpool fan, Chelsea, Arsenal, City fan, right? Even a Leicester fan for the last decade. If they're all going, we won a cup in 2012, we won it in 14, we won this. I'm not going to go, well, I'll have you know, guys and girls, our average league position has actually changed from 11th to 6th in that time. They'd look at me and go, right? Who cares? That's why, like, when we talk about Chelsea, like that year when they finished 10th and we all laughed at them. You finished 10th. And they won the league the next year.
Do you want to know the worst barb I ever had to take from one of my friends?
Go on.
Last year. And we'd sat talking about trophies and things like that, as usual. There's a couple of them, my mates are Arsenal fans. There's There's a West Ham fan who keeps his mouth shut most of the time, to be fair, as you would. And there's a Chelsea fan, and they're like comparing and go, oh yeah, what about trophies then? And the Chelsea lad, he's just going through on his phone and he's swiping through all the trophies they've been winning. And the Arsenal fans are doing the same thing, and they just keep pointing them at me and like taking the piss. And they say, what have you won in the last 20 years then? So I went down onto my phone, looked it up, the League Cup, held that up. And the barb was so good, I had to laugh myself. I held up the picture of the League Cup and they went, bloody hell, it's in colour.
yeah. And this is the thing. This is the thing. I feel like we've got this new generation of fan that are about spreadsheets, right? So when people start talking to me, oh, look how financially stable we are. I'm a football fan, right? I expect that conversation with my boss. Do you know what I mean? When I'm sitting down talking about my P&L for the year with my boss, even that bores me saying that. When I'm sitting down talking about my P&L and our targets for the year, that's when I want to have conversations about spreadsheets and this and that. As a football fan, I do not get excited because, oh, look at the graph. Look at the... I don't care. This is what I said. Like, I go back to Chelsea. I go to Liverpool. We finished above Liverpool 9 years out of 10. And we wet ourselves with, look how great we are. Liverpool came back, won the league, Champions League, FA Cup and League Cup and Super Cup and World Club Cup, all in the space of 4 years. Right? That's an achievement. That's what you cry about. But then what we're doing now is we're going, look at Chelsea in 10th. Listen, be careful what you wish for. Chelsea will have a bad year this year when all their top players start coming in.
Or they might not. You never know when it clicks together with them.
Possibly, but you know what I'm saying? This is the thing. This is where we for me, we have these fans, and look, people will know certain fans I'm talking about. Success isn't about lifting trophies. What? My best memories as a Spurs fan was being at Wembley to see Jonathan Woodgate score the header against a brilliant Chelsea team at the time to win the cup. Being at Wembley when I was 10 years old, watching Des Walker's own goal. Do you know what I mean? Watching Spurs win the FA Cup, watching Alan Nilsson score that diving header in the last minute of the game to beat Leicester City. You know, that sticks in my head. Champions League semi-finals, I'm sorry. Champions League finals that you don't win. Great, good occasion, great memories. But do I remember them as the best? Nah, I don't, Hoover. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, I'm the same. As much fun as it was seeing Lucas Moura get that hat trick in Amsterdam.
Yep.
I don't have a poster of that on my wall. Never have.
Yeah.
I did have one of Gary Mabbott lifting the FA Cup. I had one of Graham Roberts lifting the UEFA Cup. Stevie Perryman lifting the cup. They're things you put on the wall. I just don't get it. There's this wild, crazy acceptance of mediocrity. I see. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just we're just different fans to those fans. We believe in winning things.
When has that changed, and how have we allowed that to change? A lot of it for me, Coover, is this new era of the top four phrase, and how Sky Sports push it, the race for fourth. And people like Conte putting out there, it's a miracle we got fourth. I'm looking at it going, right? Yeah. Back in the day, if someone had said you're finishing fourth, it didn't mean a thing, did it, Coover? It didn't mean a thing.
Absolutely. It meant you'd missed out.
It didn't mean a thing.
It meant there was a team 3 places above you flipping the bird at you. They'd won. I even have a pop at Arsenal on this one. That season when we were chasing Leicester and we fell away, we drew against it was the home game, West Brom, I think it was. We drew 1-1 and we all kind of knew, shit, this is over.
Yeah.
And the disappointment was unreal. To be fair to the team, we went to Chelsea and put on a great performance going 2-0 up. And then they chipped it back, and they'll always gloat about, oh, that's the time. That's when we defeated you. But Arsenal fans, in the meantime, and Arsenal in general, we've gone from competing for the very top and falling away in abject disappointment, knowing we'd missed out on the chance.
Mhm.
They grab second place and celebrate it like they won the Champions League. They lost as well.
Yeah.
And we're doing the same at times. It's like, oh, we beat Arsenal to fourth place. So what? Do something with it. We don't do anything with it. It's just a bit of extra money to spend on a Jack Clark or Encoder or you name it, Joe Rodham. What was the point in buying any of those players?
Well, do you want some figures? Would you like some figures? Do we like figures?
I love figures, mate.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give you some sexy figures here, Coover.
Nice.
So, yeah, this is going to be good. It's going to be sexy, everyone. Strap in. All 187 of you, strap in. Because, actually, not all 187 of you, because only 61 of you, which is the year we last won the league title, have bothered to like the show. Come on, man. Come on. Like the show.
Come on. Savva likers are in.
Savva in. Savva in. Right, so I got some facts, got some information. So the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or we will call it White Hart Lane, if that's okay for the purposes of this conversation. Well, actually, for the purpose of any conversation, I will call it White Hart Lane, Coover. Since the new White Hart Lane opened in April 2019, off the top of your head, how much money in a GBP do you think Spurs have spent on players, and how many players do you think we've spent on? There's a question for everyone in the chat as well. So that is since April 2019, which, funnily enough, the first game was Palace at the stadium, and we had the Go Compare guys singing and all that. How much money have we spent on players since then, and how many have we signed?
Jesus Christ.
It's not Jesus Christ.
We've spent a lot. We have spent a lot. Net spend might not be so massive, but I think we probably spent about 450 million, something like that. 450
million, Coover.
Yeah.
Okay. I can tell you, but is this a pub quiz? And we can do a quiz if you want. I haven't seen anyone give a prediction yet. Come on, guys. How much money did we spend in that time? So I'll tell you, Coover, that in that time, the number of players we've bought, and this isn't including free transfers.
Hang on. I haven't had a guess. I haven't had a guess at the number of players.
Go on.
In those 4 years, let's go for 17.
17 players at 450 million you're going with.
Yeah.
The correct answer is, and this is in pounds, so if you go onto Transfer Market, it will come out as euros, right? Spurs have spent 461 million pounds.
I'm taking that.
Yeah, well, 11 million out is not bad. And this is the players. The players I'm about to tell you now is without free transfers, because obviously you don't pay for them, right? And please don't all get all arty about all the sign-on fees and that, right? 461 million on 22 players. Now, I've already worked this out. I'm not a mathematical genius.
20 million a pop or sort of thing, yeah.
20.9 million per player on average. 20.9. Now, this is why when the ENIC inners and the Levy sympathizers and all these statisticians and math people go, but we've spent money. Right. Okay. Well, first of all, let's break this down. April 2019 is what? Bang on 4 years ago, give or take 3 months, right? So in 4 years, that works out for anyone who's not the best with maths. That's 115 million pounds a calendar year, which, okay, that's what Chelsea are about to spend just on Enzo Fernandez. So just to put it in perspective, that 100 million pounds is a world-class footballer. Spurs are spending 20.9 million per player. What that tells me, Coover, is yes, they've spent money, but the process and their actual aim of how they spend money, the way they go about it, isn't spending money to win. Because that money for me should have been, if I said to you 460 million pounds, if I'd said to you, we were going to buy 9 players at 50 to 55 million of real quality, right?
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
Take that. But what we've done is actually gone the other way and gone, right, we're going to buy mass of a quantity of, there's some good players in there, a few, but we've literally gone and bought mass rather than quality. And this is the difference. When people go, ENIC have spent, Levy have spent. I mean, what do you make of all those figures?
Well, it's scandalous, isn't it? Look. I think the more important bit there would be, look how many of those players are still at the club or in the team.
Right.
Because at the moment, we've got the likes of Ben Davis and Eric Dyer have been here a lot longer than that and still in the team. Hugo has. Kane has. Sonny has. Who else am I missing? That's probably it. So we're looking at what, about 5 or 6 players that are really still in the first team in that period. It's not good, is it?
Yeah. If you go to that team in 2019, as you said, Kane was still our striker. Heung-min Son was our forward. Lloris was our goalkeeper. Dyer was in the team. Davis was in the team, or there or thereabouts. It's, Davinson Sanchez. Ryan Sessegnon was in the squad at that point as well. Ndombele and Lo Celso. You think, because they signed in the summer before for Poch, right? Ndombele, Lo Celso in that squad. It just stinks, doesn't it? So when you actually look at what we've done with 460 million, now don't get me wrong, that still for me wouldn't win your titles. It's not enough, but it could have been so much better if we'd actually gone, let's buy 8 or 9 top players.
I don't know. I disagree that it's not enough money. I think if you've got the plan in place and you've got your way of playing, you've got your DNA that Daniel Levy likes to say we have, even though he's taken it away. Well, him and Sugar to combine, to be fair. If you've got all that in place and you know the type of player you want for the positions you want, the style of play, you're consistent with it, you can build, you can keep building and adding 2 players like that each season. We wouldn't be in this mess if we'd done that. Couple of players at a sort of 60 million class each season over the past 20 odd years. Right. Yeah, I think we'd be in a pretty bloody good place if you scout out what you want and identify your weaknesses. But somebody said it in the comments. The highlight was always going to be that Gareth Bale money. That when we sold Elvis and replaced him with the Beatles. I think not a lot of people didn't realise that with all those Beatles, we're going to have to get a bloody exterminator the next year.
Just quickly, Krusty Crimpets, you're saying you've yet to meet a Levy or ENIC defender who we arguing against? Oh, they're everywhere. Just pop onto social media. They are absolutely everywhere. Hence why this club will never ever, for me, be able to force them out, because until that tide changes. But listen, that's a different conversation.
There are channels out there I've asked if I could go on, because I thought it'd be good to bring this sort of conversation to them, and they refuse. Ask them onto channels here. People have tried it, invite people on, they don't do it. There's a few that do, not many. But the general thing is that there seems to be camps, and we're always accused of, on the Levy outside, that we're always in echo chambers, always just sticking to our own and talking amongst ourselves. But I'd argue the same happens for the people that aren't Levy out. Because literally, I've asked, I'll never get invited to somebody that's like, supposing it was Last Word on Spurs or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they don't get that. They won't have any of us on. I listen, I don't mind. I'll call it out. I messaged Ricky Sachs. We actually follow each other on LinkedIn, which is really weird. I messaged him on LinkedIn and said, "Hey mate, hope you're well. Listen, I'd love to unite the fan base. How about me and you do a show together?" And he read it and didn't respond. And this is the thing. I'll welcome anyone on this channel. Kovi, I would. I'd welcome anyone on this channel, even if I don't like them. They can come on this channel. We'll have a debate. We'll have a chat.
Shall I be really antagonistic and call somebody out
in the chat?
No, they're not in the chat at the moment, but their name has come up. No, I won't do that. I won't do that. Let's just say I have my suspicions that there are people in the Spurs community on the YouTube channels that may be bots, maybe algorithms. There's one in particular.
Okay, I've just messaged you privately in the private chat.
No.
Okay. Are we talking about this guy?
Might be.
This guy. So this guy, I've seen him on chats before. I'll call him out. I think he's an absolute whatever. I won't be rude because it's my channel.
What I'm saying is I don't think it's a legit person.
Oh, really? I've seen this person before. If they are a person or a bot, and it doesn't matter, whatever you say, nothing about the club is wrong. Nothing. Everything is amazing. If I turn around and go, well, look at all this money we wasted.
And the reply is almost instant, and they're on every show at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I do see people like that. Yeah. What makes me laugh is if I'm streaming at the same time as Henry is and at Tottenham away, isn't it? You know, Bob Spur is and all this. People are going, oh my God, you see what they just said about you over there? And it's like, how are you doing this? Like, have you got 4 screens up? What are you doing? How are you concentrating? But look, getting back to the money spent, it goes to show that for me, I feel like what they're doing is they're doing enough. They're doing enough to keep us relevant, right? i.e. enough to keep us in that top 4 conversation for the last decade, enough to entice a Jose or a Conte to say, look, we're teetering on the edge, but never that, you know what, now is the time to go bang. That's it for me. And I've said multiple times, if this summer Levy turned around and went, do you know what, Antonio, there's 300 million on 4 or 5 top players, then as an ENIC Levy out person, I turn around and go, all right, boom, done. They've done their job. Right, Conte, over to you, mate. Right, but it won't happen. We know it won't happen.
I know, mate. Can I just quickly say, big up to Sue Smith, brilliant Spurs fan, really passionate about the club. Doesn't tolerate any of the bullshit that's been going on in the last few years. Hope you're doing well, Sue. I know she had a few health issues lately. Hopefully, the mental health one can improve if something happens with this club worthwhile. That'll do a lot of us a lot of good. As for what she was told, you know, she can bore off and die, that sort of thing. That's regular. Don't worry about it, Sue. I'll get a lot worse. I'll get told, you know, they hope I live long enough to watch my kids die, or you know, the usual. Hope you get cancer. Anything like that.
Did you get a death threat to your house?
No, because I would have gone to the police if that happened.
Right. Do I get to play top trumps here?
Yeah, I know, mate.
I had to get the police involved. That's how bad it got. And then when the police went to see said person, I don't even know who Savva is. All right, mate. Anyway, that was it. That was a while ago. We're over all that now. But look, big up in the chat. Big up to Gogama. Thank you so much for the super sticker again. Great Spurs fan. Follow Gogama if you can on Insta and Twitter and all those good places. The good places that I'm not on, but the good places if you're in the right crowd.
I'll tell you what, I'm almost irritated by Gogama at times, because when I'm feeling really angry and pissed off, she pops into the chat, and within a minute, I'm feeling quite happy again.
Yeah, one of the good ones. Yeah, Pipes, you're wrong. The Levy disciples, they don't want to be proven wrong. The thing is, it's a tough thing in life, right? There are some people that can't ever say, I was wrong. Yeah? And I'm the opposite to that in life. And what I mean by that is there are things with Tottenham where I really wish I could come on and go, I was so wrong about that. I really wish there was when it comes to Levy and ENIC. Like I said at the beginning of the summer to you, Kuva, this summer will be the same as all the others. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I'm sitting here at the end of August going, well, that shut me up. We've just brought in Blasco, Skriniar, Madison. Shut up, Savva, you're an idiot. But we get to the end of the window and I go, oh my God, why do people still like these owners? Why? Delusion or just that clinging?
I think the thing that's so irritating is when you get into these arguments and like you get to the end of a really disappointing window and things, and somebody will go, oh, well, that's what he wanted, just for a bit of ammunition to shoot at people that don't think the way you do. No, I'm angry at the club.
Yeah. When people say, oh, you want to be right, I don't want to be right. I want to win trophies. I want to win league titles. I want to see top players coming to Spurs. I don't want to be right when I turn around and say, what, you think ENIC are going to back them? It gives me no pleasure not being able to banter with my mates. I've got my Arsenal friends right now are unbearable. It is a few of them are good guys, right? That are, hang on, they're like me in respect that they're keep your feet on the ground. Let's see where this goes. The others are like, nah, sod this. We're in a title race. We're going to win the league. We're this many points clear. But wouldn't it just be lovely to be in that position just for a minute? Wouldn't it?
Yeah, it really would.
It truly would.
It's one of the ongoing things. I never understood the whole one-upmanship on Arsenal when, we finish above them and we finish like 6th or 5th or 4th.
I don't get it.
It doesn't matter.
No.
The time I want to be celebrating that isn't because Arsenal have become so bad we've overtaken them. It's because we've become so good we've overtaken them when they were at the top. Mm-hmm. The best thing for me in the world would be title race to the end of the season and us beating them and they're in second. That's something to brag about. Shove a trophy in their face. They can always do that to us. They find a way to win FA Cups. We've got nothing. Audi Cup and a League Cup in the last 2 decades. Pathetic.
Just moving this on, just a few things. I'll come back to this in a second, Stuart Anderson. Big up, my friend. I'll come back to that. Leslie Crawford, when you say how long is your channel going, do you mean today or how long has it been going? Today, just whenever we feel like it. And how long has it been going? This is the 9th month now. Shouldn't have ever shut down my original one. I had loads of subscribers, but it is what it is. Kuva, this is what 2 things I want to talk about. First of all, somebody messaged me. It wasn't actually Stuart. Somebody messaged me yesterday on my YouTube and said, oh my God, Savva, before I watched your show, and this was before the Palace game, I felt really sorry. I watched Chris Cowling. He looked really down and depressed at what's happening at Spurs. My response was this. I've got no empathy or sympathy for someone like that. Because people like that, and I've got nothing against Chris Cowling as a person, I don't know him, but people like that have been peddling this ENIC are brilliant, Spurs are brilliant for years and years and years and years because they go on Sky Sports, because they get all the gigs, because they got the sponsorship. If you peddle all that, cool. Then when things start going wrong, I'm not feeling sorry for you. You are part of the people that wanted this to continue. Yeah? Now, again, I'm not saying I'm a better fan than that person at all. But if you don't want change and if you want to say everything's great and you're scared to speak out against the club, when things start going wrong, don't then all be, oh, but why is it going wrong? Of course it's going wrong. You've backed failure. Failure.
To be fair, I don't think half of the things they come out with content in about them they believe anyway.
That's my point.
Yeah, it's chasing the easy route to get subscribers, isn't it? You just big up the team each time, cheer somebody for scoring a goal. Everything's great. Be ultra positive. Yay, 100,000 subscribers all of a sudden. Right. I mean, I enjoy. I really like the twins on the We Are Tottenham TV, for example, but I don't really enjoy the channel all that much because they're kind of forced into a. They can't really go controversial without it affecting their subscribers and their income. It's a difficult thing for them, and I know they can't express the views that I know they have all the time. So I think the same with like the likes of Chris Cowling. Is he going to risk all those subscriptions and income? Of course not. So I get it, but this is why I've always prefer the smaller channels. It's my thing. I always like to be, sub 15K channels. You tend to get more open views, more brutally honest. I wouldn't say it's even controversial. It's just that we don't mind about speaking our minds, do we? If we think something's wrong, just say it.
I can assure you of this. I don't care how big I get. I probably will never get that big because I am what I like to think is honest. Because I don't step back from the difficult conversations. You know, like I watched a bit of Last Word on Spurs last night, and honestly, I thought we'd won the title. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for the positivity of winning a game, but it was all of a sudden, it was, oh my God, just think moving forward, and you're going to have Sarr in that pivot, and you know, with Hill coming on, things look great, and you're like, again, that's what we get when you win one game against Palace. It's these channels pedal out, everything's great, it's amazing. Lose 2 or 3 games in a row, then I want to hear them start saying the right things. But listen, I've got nothing against these other channels, but I ask YouTubers, are you doing it for, listen, you know, YouTubers make money. By the way, listen, I'll be really honest. People don't want to have this discussion. YouTubers make money. I don't know how much money. I get people saying to me all the time, it's all right for you. You make loads of money off the club. I really don't know if you know how this works. I really do not make loads of money off this club at all, right? This is a hobby for me, okay? I can assure you, though, if I ever got to 15, 20, 25,000 subscribers, Cougar, I'm saying what I'm saying now, right? The difference is those channels, if they choose to take sponsorship from companies that say, okay, we'll sponsor you, but you're not allowed to say X, Y, Z, my thing will always be, no, you're not censoring me. Because you'd know immediately, Kuva, if suddenly, let's say a big sponsor came in now and said, Savva, we'll give you $2,000 a month, right, to sponsor your channel, but you cannot say ENIC out, you cannot say Levy out, and you cannot criticize the manager or the or the director of football. You can't criticize any of it. Can you imagine me coming on here? Everyone would be like, what's wrong with Savva? All of a sudden I'd be going, yeah, but, you know, to be fair, we have, you know, finished higher than we did in 1999. And you'd know. It comes across fake. It comes across as not real.
Hell with that. I'd do it. 500 quid a week for just telling bullshit. Yeah.
I wouldn't. I couldn't. That's the thing. I couldn't.
It's fair. It's fair. Well, I'm skint most of the time, mate. It's an incentive for me.
Listen, it's just, look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, I'll always be true. And look, let's talking about being true. I'm seeing lots of people, they're talking about in the chat. We talked about it at the beginning, Jamie O'Hara. Now, all these people, all of a sudden now that are, this is what makes me laugh about this fan base, right? Jamie O'Hara, what a guy. He's one of us. What he said about the board, brilliant. Hang on. Take a step back. This is the same Jamie O'Hara who a month, 2 months ago was saying Conte is the best thing that's ever happened to Spurs. The board are backing him. We're challenging. This is the year we're going to do it. Now it's they're not back. I mean, the flip-flopping from someone, but because he's famous, it's, oh my God, look at Jamie O'Hara. Some of us have been saying this consistently for over a decade, but yet when Jamie O'Hara flip-flops for a second, he's brilliant and well done, and he's in trouble with Spurs. Mate, it just frustrates me.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but end of the day, got to say it was a bit of fun there. I enjoyed it. Yeah,
I'm not saying I didn't, but I don't want people to suddenly think this is where Jamie O'Hara's position has always been. Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport, Laura Woods called him out the other day. I love the way she calls him out. Laura Woods turned around to him and said, hang on. I'm about to show you a clip, Jamie, of you a few months ago telling us how Spurs have got a better squad than Arsenal, how we've got a better manager, and how this is the year you're going to do it, and that Conte's been backed in the market. Now you start losing some games and it's the board haven't backed him and he's not that great. It's just so funny. Like, what happened to consistency?
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of it just goes on there because people like to stay in what's trending, don't they?
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
If you're not, it's really difficult to go against trends, especially YouTubing. You're putting your face up there on the screen and you say something that you believe in, but the rest of the chat's telling you you're an idiot and things like that. It's like it's very hard to do it, but I'll just think, sod it. If I'm not saying what I believe, then what's the point? It's all just fake then, isn't it? So yeah, I know there's a lot of people in the chat that like to come to the channel and others similar to this, because we will speak our mind. Except for Bob Spur, obviously, because he's a bit of a git.
Does anyone like Bob Spur? Oh, Bob Spur, asked him if he was coming on. He sent me a picture of him at work. He's got a very sexy fleece on. Ask him to send you a picture, Kuva. Lovely fleece. Bob, send him a picture of you in your fleece. Lovely fleece. The sort you'd love to own.
He sent us some good pictures of his latest cars as well. Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, look, the thing is for me, I think what I would like to see is, again, some of these bigger channels go on other shows. Yeah. Give your views on other shows. What I see with the bigger channels, they don't tend to move away from their own show. This is my show. Whereas you and I will go on other shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Tottenham Away, Henry Wright TV, Tottenham on Tour said, come on and talk. Even if Last Word on Spurs said, come on, Savva, we don't like you. Come on then. You come on and tell us about ENIC. Cool. I'll do it. These people won't. They won't even respond to you. It's like they're a better fan. It's like they're a better fan. If you're not in their little community, they don't want to know. Because you know why? When they used to do a phone-in, I'd phone in. Right? I'd phone in. And I'd say to them, come on, guys, none of you are being honest. None of you are being honest about the situation at the club. You're all skirting around the point because you want the sponsorship, because you're on the radio. None of you are prepared to say, this is crap. None of you are prepared to say they've got that wrong. And now they wouldn't let me on. They wouldn't let you on. They wouldn't let Estelle on. They wouldn't let anyway, they wouldn't let a Brian Daigle on. That's just how it is. That's, for me, that's where I think these channels go wrong. Not We Are Tottenham TV, I know they do, but the other big channels just don't. Like Chris Cowling. I'd love Chris Cowling to come on the show. I'd love him to. I'd love to put some really direct questions to him and go, Chris, talk to me about Spurs. But be honest, talk to me about Spurs. And the moment he starts going, well, it's been different. No, none of that. Talk to me about Tottenham Hotspur. What's going on? Why are we not backing the manager? And he wouldn't be able to bring himself to say it. He wouldn't. It's a strange one. Let's talk about last night's game. Just quickly. I want people to calm down a little bit, Kuva. The memes I'm seeing, the gifs I'm seeing, everything I'm seeing about Papa Sarr and about Brian Hill, I feel like we're going to ruin them the way we have many other players who we've absolutely bigged up way too quickly. Papa Sarr, for example, I thought did well when he came on. He did well. He didn't do anything that made me go, wow.
He just looked a comfortable Premiership player, doesn't he?
Yeah, there you go. He looked comfortable and he didn't look out of place. I'm seeing now people going, this is the new Yaya Toure. I'm seeing people that have sent around, oh my God, this kid is generational talent. He has to start from moving forward alongside Bentancur. And you're like, whoa, hang on. And that's just one or two I've seen. I've seen 15, 20, I'm sure there's hundreds of them out there. Are we in danger of doing what we did when we did this with Winks? We did this with Skip. We did this with Tanganga, right? We did this with Bentaleb, but we do it with all these players. We've done it with Parrott for years. Why is he not in the team? Guy can't score in League One. Right?
Tom Carroll, that's another big one, wasn't it? The next big thing. Yeah.
I'm not saying they can't be good, Kobe. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we see a player come on for 24 minutes, do okay. That's part. Do well, do his job, and we just lose our minds about these players. I don't know. I don't understand why.
Oh, I understand why.
Go on.
It's because we're used to seeing such utter dross most of the time. So somebody comes out and plays in an average sort of way. They're amazing. Let's face it. Some of the football we played in the last 4 years has been diabolical.
Yeah,
if somebody, it's to the point in some games where you think if somebody can get onto the pitch, is able to trap a ball and pass it accurately, they're almost Pele-like at that point. It's just unbelievable.
Can I just want to quickly address someone in the chat. Dunkelstore, big up, you're always in here. He said, when is it okay for people to change their opinions? I still don't quite understand your view on this. Listen, human beings, we change our opinions. For me, what I was saying is it's when the opinions change game after game. I'm seeing people whose opinion on Sunday versus their opinion on Wednesday night, the whole club is completely different because of 45 minutes of football. Yeah. People who hated Brian Hill, right? All of a sudden, Brian Hill is, if we give him games, this guy could be the new David. It's like slow, like it's the flip-flopping. No one wants to remain just cautious. Just remain, yeah, I liked what I saw. He did well. Can he push on? Will he get more minutes now? Because we know when Bentancur's back and Basuma's back, right, and Kulusevski and Richarlison are back, you're not going to see those two. But we're going to build them up to the point now where we want them to be our heroes. Yeah. I thought Brian Hill did okay. I thought he did okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He did okay. He showed a couple of nice touches, showed to me that physically he's just not there. That's not his fault. That's who he is. But again, what you're seeing at the end of the game is just a little bit, for me, it's OTT. I look at these young players and I look at the young players going on, what they're doing down at Arsenal, chalk and cheese. I want to wait until they get to Saka's stage before I start going, oh, generational. Not that I think Saka is, but let's let them do something, not 24 minutes of football.
Yeah, at least Saka is in a team that's top of the league at the moment. He is he is earning his way. Yeah. Otherwise, the Hill Messi bit and everything. I know David Harris always talks about him in this way, but he says it on air as well. It's for a bit of fun. It's not because it's not because he actually sees him as good as Lionel Messi or anything. I get that, but there's a lot of people that will just instantly jump on and just say, "Oh, this is how it is. He's that good. He's the next big thing." And it's like there's such a need to get carried away. But like I said, we're starved of watching quality over the years. That's why the likes of Kane and Sonny just get Kulusevski. Love Kulusevski. I'm bigging him up all the time because I think he's brilliant to watch because we've got so few players that can offer that. I'm used to eras, back even the Posh's era or back in the 80s or anything like that. Even when we were doing poorly in the 90s, we had seasons when we'd have the likes of Klinsmann, Sheringham, Popescu, Dumitrescu. We played some great stuff. Ginola was always getting bangers and player of the year stuff. It's just overreaction. Of course it is, but it's a desperation sort of overreaction.
I agree. I agree. It's the thing. Listen, not even just about those two. It's just to go back to Dunkeldorf's. Sorry, I probably always pronounce that wrong. Dunkeldorf. His point. It's the thing for me is when like people messaging me. First of all, I didn't say Conte out, but people have been messaging me overnight going, "Are you still Conte out after we beat Palace?" And it's like, even if I was Conte out, what sort of a human being would I be if 45 minutes of football made me go, all my beliefs are wrong? All my beliefs are wrong. That 45 minutes has told me I'm wrong. I don't understand. Football fans are brilliant at this. Like if Lionel Messi, for example, goes and wins the World Cup, he's the best thing ever, which I think he is. He'll miss a penalty in his next PSG game and it'll be, he's a fraud, he's a flop, he can't take a penalty. And it's like these kind of things can't be like Haaland. Haaland, I see him getting it. Haaland missed a couple of chances the other day, and it was, when it matters, he flops, and you're like, oh my God, how knee-jerk can we all be? Like, listen, I'm happy. If Papa Star turns into a great player, great. I don't think he'll get the opportunities anytime soon. I don't. I truly believe, I don't know what you think about this, Kuva. When Bentancur is back, when Basuma is back, straight away, that knocks this guy down to 4th/5th choice player. Plus, they're talking about bringing in another midfielder, right? Where does that leave a player like Papa Sarr? Where does that leave Brian Hill?
That's it. That's the thing. Well, what's happened with Skip as well? You've got to question what's the point with some of them if they're not going to get the chance to really flourish. It's all well and good getting the occasional game, but I mean, if you're really going to progress, regular football's what you need. I think there's such a mistrust on the there's such a mistrust on by both management and the club on some of the younger players at times. It takes a bit of braveness to give them a run in the team. I think we are lacking that. If we're going to continue with this level of investment, we should be looking to bring in youngsters and playing them. It's all well and good saying bringing in young players on low wages that are, talented. But if you're going to do that, you've got to play them. Otherwise, it's pointless. Otherwise, it's just pissing money away for no reason. How many do we have to end up just letting go on a free or, low transfer away? Is poor.
Here's another one I keep seeing, Kuva. I've been asked this 3 times today now. Big up yourself, Dumbledore. I said, do you think Hill would be better in a Modric-like role? The third person that's asked me this on YouTube today. And I look at Brian Hill and I think, I couldn't imagine for 1 second that boy playing central midfield. I mean, Modric was slight, but Modric was very strong for his, like the same way people say Xavi and Iniesta were slight. They had this amazing ability to shield, this amazing low center of gravity. I don't see Hill in that position. If anything, I see moving forward Hill as a traditional number 10, floating around in the pockets of space.
Yeah, exactly. It's that space. That's the key thing. He can work then. So finding the pockets, it's like a David Villa or Eriksen playing. He's playing that 10 role. He'll do it as well. Just find the space and hurt a team from there with a quality pass. Yeah, maybe he could do that. Maybe he turns into that sort of player. It's a long way to go. We don't know yet, but at least we've got some encouragement from last night, didn't we?
Of course. For me, it's just football fans are all or nothing. It's gone from, oh my God, they're crap, to one played 65 minutes, 70 minutes, one played 24 minutes, and it's the 90-minute between them has gone, oh my God, if we keep these in the team, we could sell them in 5 years for 200 million. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, let's let them actually start 5 to 10 games in a row and do well. Because what the same fans will do, Kuva, is if they both started against Arsenal, I'm not saying they will, but if they both started against Arsenal and were poor, we'd be knocking them down. It was a one-off, blah, 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 blah. Just let them, kind of integrate. Either they will or they won't. I still feel, I don't know what you think, Kuva, I still think Brian Hill will be sent out on loan in this window.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it depends on injury news and incomings as well, though. There were reports, of course, before that Conte wanted to make sure he had at least 1-2 players in every position. If that's the case, I can see Hill staying to the end of the season. I think eventually he's got to go on loan, though. You can't just keep a player that age that needs to develop sat on the bench. It's pointless. It's a waste of time and money for us and a waste of their talent. Got to find the best match for it. I'm always been of the opinion these big squads are pointless. You get a quality sort of, well, Conte's into this as well. Get 14, 15 sort of core group to build on.
Yeah.
If you will look at always improving that core 14, 15 as your starting 11 plus the 3 regular ones you'll rotate with. After that, I've always thought, why not just use the youth players coming through, the academy players? Because if they're not going to be playing regularly and just looking for their chance, it's perfect for them. They get a chance to come on at times and show them what they can do. Yeah, I looked at this one. Yeah, cheers, mate, for the good-looking bit. I'm not sure about that, but I'll tell you what it is. My proper camera, my expensive camera, broke earlier in the year, and I have to use this cheap-ass one that we got the kids for Christmas. And it's just bollocks. I can't adjust it. And I'm just broke, mate. So it's just going to have to wait till I've got a bit of money. I'll get a better one then and shrink my head.
Absolutely. Just quickly, Foggy Foamer said, so are you changing your mind on Paratici's talent IQ, Savva? I think if you would listen to everything I just said, my whole point is I want to see what these players do long term. I don't watch players for 24 minutes and go, oh, my God, I now see why Paratici bought this bloke. Listen, if Papa Sarr turns out to be a really good midfielder for us, then great. But I'm of the opinion that where we have such little budget, the players that come in need to hit the ground running, right? I know it's not Sarr's fault, but the players we bring in need to come in and affect the first team immediately. Papa Sarr's been at this club for 18 months now, right? And that's not his fault. I'm just saying that's on Paratici. For me, you've got to, both of these were signed in Paratici's first window. So we've got 18 months, and now 18 months later, both of them have had their first bit of praise after 18 months. I don't particularly rate Paratici, so I'm not the right person to ask that question to.
Hang on, just to add to that one about Paratici, we bought Emerson Royale. How much was he?
Yeah.
That's why I won't rate Paratici. How can you justify that?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, let's answer this question before we go back to last night's game and the players. Akash, big up to yourself, and thank you very much for the super chat. Very good talking point. This I said, good evening, Savva. Good evening to you. I wish it was evening for me. It's afternoon. Good evening, Savva and Kuva. Hope you're both good. Just a question for you: is the divide in our fan base too great to force ENIC out via protests? Kuva?
No, absolutely not. I'll just look at the people that I've known over the last year on YouTube alone. The amount of people that used to be very much backing Levy and everything ENIC did that have come over to thinking this isn't good enough, we need to change. It's growing daily. Our voice is growing stronger daily. It's not something you can just force to happen overnight. You need to keep at it. We're talking about taking on billionaire owners with a huge PR machine that's insanely powerful. You can't just convince people overnight. You have to wait for them to start questioning what's going on and then realize, oh, actually, there's a group there that has been against this the whole time. I'm starting to get it now. And then we just want you to come over and join us. It's I don't want to sort of force this wedge further between fans. I want to say I respect their opinion. I don't agree with it. But here's what I'm saying. When you do get to the point you start seeing it, come on, mate, I'll just take you on board. Let's get at it. Because the opinion at the end of the day is about improving this football team.
Yeah.
We are going Levy out because we do not see that happening with him anymore. There was a point when things were good and we were improving the overall standing of the team. But there's a point where it's now that became dormant and we're just stagnated and you're festering away. Some of the signings are just awful. The sense of direction is awful. The future plan is awful. Don't even know what style that we're going to have soon. Don't know what manager we're going to have. Up in the air, all of it. I want to see some sort of progress from that point of view. If Levy can do that, I will be Levy in. But I don't see it. 22 years of not doing it suggests he never will.
Yeah.
So is it going to be too much? Is there too much of a rift between the fans? No, I don't think so. It's a question of those people that are tolerating it at the moment suddenly deciding, you know what, this is too much. It's not changing. And I do know some of really staunch Levy-inners before. Well, not Levy-inners, but people sitting on the fence that are just coming to the side. The voice is getting stronger. I see it every day.
Yep, it's definitely getting stronger. Talking about stronger, guys, help me help the channel grow if possible. If I get another 5 subscribers between now and the end of the show, that would be much appreciated. Just help me grow. And please smash the like button. There's 2/3 of you in here that have not smashed the like button, so please do. It's free and it really does help. I'm asking for a bit of help, but it is free. I'm not asking you to pay for anything. So if I get some subscribers, please let me know when you have so I can thank you. Dunkel's Dawker said, have your opinion on Conte's dedication to the club and the players' commitment to Conte changed after yesterday? I think this boils down to the whole point of what I'm saying about I don't change my opinion on 45 minutes of football. My opinion on Conte's dedication to the club will change when him and the board agree a contract. I've said that all along. I don't think I'm bound to say it's my opinion. I don't think that's the wrong way to judge it, is it, Cougar? Because how can you judge somebody's dedication if they're not tied in?
Well, I'm going to make it even simpler. What did we really see yesterday?
Yeah,
What was different? It was the scoreline that was different. If you analyse the match, we played well at the start and then got absolutely hammered by Palace till half time.
yeah.
This is what we've been doing all season. Then we improve in the second half and smack some goals in. If they'd gone 2-0 up, it wouldn't have been a surprise at half time. Not a surprise at all. And it would have been exactly the same what we've seen in previous games. Goals can mask what's going on behind in front of your eyes sometimes. It's easy to do. If you score 4 goals, of course it's going to be a good result. Analyse the way the match played out, you realise it could have been a lot different. And, well, I say different, but it's exactly the same as what we've been doing. Only the scoreline changed.
It's strange, isn't it? This is what I mean by questions like that. For me, I'll never, ever change my opinion on a game. I need to see over a period of 10, 15, 20 games that we can play how we played in that second half. Because if you put that performance side by side versus Villa's performance, I would still say in there that there was a lot of not good football in there. But a few goals has now made people go, oh, my God, see, everything's changed. He is committed. The players do play for him. I'm not saying they don't necessarily. I'm just saying it can't all change for me on one game. Because what would happen, Dunkelsdorp, is if we got battered 3 or 4-0 in the North London derby, you'll be coming back and asking me, do you think the players are committed to him? And blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? It can't be game to game. This has to be a run of games where we demonstrate it. That's only my opinion. I want to talk. Danny, feel free to jump on, mate. I'm going to go for another 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to put the link in the chat, but just for Danny, please do not come on. I will not let you on. It's just for Danny. It's in the chat, brother. I want to talk about Harry Kane. Lost half the order pace. I don't think any of us can deny that. But bloody hell, Coover, where would we be without this man at our football club? I mean, time and time again. Yesterday, for me, people are talking about what did Conte do at halftime. For me, it wasn't that. And I know that sounds harsh, but for me, it was almost Kane decided, hang on, I was poor first half. I'm going to turn up. His intensity, his getting on the ball higher up the pitch to dictate games rather than coming to centre mid. Like, he's just class act, isn't he?
He is. I think, to be fair, it was the whole team's had more of a sense of pushing forward in the second half.
Sure.
There was more intent to join the attack. But yeah, Harry Kane, we are so lucky to have him, because I was saying this on the stream the other day. Would we have bought him if he cost 80 million quid? No chance. We got him through our academy, and thank God at least sometimes it fires. Because if we hadn't had him in the last 10 years, where would we be? I'm going to go for mid-table.
Yeah, I think some of these years would have been even lower. I mean, you look at him this season. This is a guy that isn't at the peak of his powers, right, from his performances, and he's got 15 Premier League goals in 18 Premier League games. He just, for me, he epitomises everything that is good about Tottenham Hotspur. Listen, I know everyone raised their game last night, but for me, he was the catalyst. He just looked different. Sometimes with Kane, what I love about Kane, his endeavour is always to get drop deep and try to spark something. But sometimes it's a bit hurried, like in the first half, and it doesn't work. Second half just looked so much more composed, assured. It was like the power pose they say people do. It was like he pumped his chest out and every one of his passes started working. And again, he put the ball through for Son. I don't know if he's been credited with that assist, but he put the ball through for Son as well. He got a great header, lovely low drive for the finish. And every time I just sit there and think to myself, where would we be without Harry Kane?
It wasn't the header. It was that low drive. That was classic Kane, wasn't it?
Fast.
Just inside the far post, low down. That's him all over.
Yeah.
Where would we be? He is more than just an icon for the fans. He's a incredibly important pillar for the team.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have that physicality up front, if he doesn't have that awareness and the ability to pass the ball, I've seen people saying he sprays the ball around and it's just pot luck sort of thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't disagree more. I think he's so pinpoint with so many of it. Some of those cross-field passes he does, rakes it out 40 yards to pick the free player out, moves into position. He does it effortlessly, and it's all the time.
Not just a wonderful goal scorer, is he?
He's just a good player.
He's just a very good,
intelligent footballer.
He reminds me, he's the closest I think I've seen, and only in the last 3 years, maybe. I don't think before that as much, to Teddy.
Yeah.
Who, for me, one of the most underrated Premier League players of all time, was up there, was sensational. His feet, he wasn't quick. His feet were quick. His brain was quick. He couldn't run, but he was just, you know, and Kane is now, as he's getting a bit older, is kind of dropping in and doing that Sheringham kind of piece, because Sheringham scored goals as well, didn't he? He wasn't just a link-up guy. Sheringham scored a hatful of goals for Tottenham Hotspur. And I just can't help but I look at games like that and I think, how many managers have looked better because Harry Kane scores goals for them? I would argue Southgate. I would argue that Poch wouldn't have been the manager without Kane. Now, I know you could say that for loads of players and loads of managers, but Kane is always the one at Spurs, isn't he? I know he was outscored last year, but even
the rise of Pochettino and the rise of Kane went hand in hand. There's no doubt about it. Sure. But I mean, that's not a bad thing. Look at Sir Alex Ferguson with Giggs and Scholes.
Yeah. Of course. Oh, listen, I love Harry Kane. He is Mr. Consistent. I know last year was his. Let's bring up his stats. And by the way, come on, guys. Since I said I've only had one new subscriber, are you telling me I can't get 4 more of you to subscribe to me, and that all 240 of you are subscribed? Let's have a look at Harry Kane, shall we? Because I believe, where are we? Tottenham Hotspur. Harry Kane, there he is. So
having a look at Harry Kane. Hang on, I'm just going to. So it's a Bobby K joke. I just like it.
Unbelievable. When you look at Harry Kane, his last year was. I'm not counting the first years when he burst onto the scene with 10 appearances. His last year was the first season where he had a full season. That was his lowest scoring year, and even in that year, he got 17 goals plus another 9 assists. So he still ended up on 26 goal contributions in what people were saying was a really bad year for him. Before that, the only time he'd hit as low as 17 was when he only played 28 games in the year when he missed 10 games through to injury. And even in that season, he got 21 goal contributions in 28 games. This is a guy that scores for fun, has added that wonderful passing and assisting to his game. He's got 15 in 18 this year, which by my reckoning is putting him on to be his best ever goal scoring season, give or take. His best ever Premier League scoring season was 30 in 37 games. 15 in 18 would put him above that on that average.
Yeah, he's on course, isn't he? Yeah.
This guy, I mean, it begs the question again that, and it is a worry, and I'm not putting a negative on it, but this guy cannot be lost on a free transfer or with 1 year left on his contract, can he? Because you don't replace Kane. You need 2 or 3 players to replace the genius that is.
That's the conversation we had a while back. I mean, you've got to work out what your objectives are as an owner and a manager. Yeah. If it's a big rebuild we need, and we're going to go with youth players, get the likes of Pochettino back. If that happens, you're going to have to bite the bullet and look at the fact that we might need to sell Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. We might need to get in younger players, and like you said, use that money to get in 2 or 3 players instead of just relying on the one. It's kind of counter it's the counter argument to what we were saying earlier about got to buy big name players in if you're going to improve the first team. Sometimes you have to sell one to get in a couple you need. Look what Liverpool did with Coutinho.
I've always said
it will be gutting to do. It's that'll be the most painful of rebuilds there is. But either you buy quality players of Kane's level and use them right now, or you have to start looking longer term, I think. If we just hang on to them and don't invest, we're going nowhere.
I think for me, I've always said that if there was going to be a player you let go to raise those funds, i.e. a Coutinho, we'll call it a Coutinho, right? Because of what, I mean, that one sale sparked such a wonderful chain of events for that football club. For me, and listen, it would be Heung-min Son. It would be, for his age, for what you'll still get for him, for what clubs will pay for him because of his reach in the Asian market. It would be Son. I think Kane's the one you've got to keep at all costs. Even if in the next 2-3 years he stops being a centre forward and naturally drops down into that kind of Messi position where we're seeing Messi now. Messi doesn't play up front anymore. Every time a TV station put up, oh, here's the PSG team or Argentina team, they have Messi up front. Watch the game. He's never actually up front. You know what I mean? He's in the middle of the park wandering around.
It's kind of strange. I see the other way round with Kane. I think because of his physical presence and his ability in the air combined with everything else, I think he needs to stay as that forward player.
I think his legs will just go in that area. I don't know. Listen, not yet. I'm not talking now, mate. I'm talking. I think naturally he looks to me one of those players that drops. The way Rooney.
It's like Sheringham, though, isn't it? I mean, I'll see him both. I'll see him following suit and having quite a lengthy career.
Yeah, for sure. If his injuries and legs hold out, for sure. But that's what I was saying. Like, look at Rooney. Rooney dropped deeper and deeper and deeper. I remember, Rooney at one point when he was at Man U, they were like Rooney and Alan Smith at centre mid or something. Do you remember that? Like, it was like, what are you doing there? But look, good players can play anywhere, right?
Of course they can.
That's the mark of a good player. But
Giggs as well, same deal. Flying winger to more of a defensively minded centre midfield. It was a incredible transformation, but good player.
David Beckham as well. As his career went on, he tucked a lot more into a central midfielder because of his ability to put his foot on the ball and spray it around. Another one Beckham wasn't blessed with blistering pace. He had that quickness over the ability to shift the ball and give himself space. Let's talk. Look, Kane for me, is sublime. Let's talk Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son. We'll go for another 10 minutes, but please keep smashing the like button and subscribe. Heung-min Son. Look, I think it was 8 games. They said 8 games without a goal. He got his goal. Deflected. He won't care. It went in the back of the net. The relief on that man's face, I think, was collectively felt by every Spurs fan at the ground, watching, listening on the radio. I think everyone just went, but it's important, Kuva, now. We've already had that this season when he went 7-8 games without a goal.
Yeah.
Got the goals at Leicester and everyone went, he's going to kick on. Didn't. It's really important now that he gets himself into that mental place to kick on, especially with the tough games we've got, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, if it wasn't for the goal, you look at the rest of his game last night. Wasn't spectacular, was it? It was.
No, it wasn't.
He was struggling through it, but he's Sonny. It concerns me a little bit because I love him. I think he's a fantastic player. Nothing better than seeing the beaming smile on his face when he scores a couple of goals and team's happy, he's happy, everything's good in the world.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem right at the moment, does he? He just, until the goal was scored, it was the same again last night. As soon as the goal was scored, like you said, erupted with that smile all over his face. What a relief. It was good to see. There's still questions about him at the moment. I think he just needs to go on a bit of a run, doesn't he? He needs to smack in 6 or 7 goals in about 10 games and that we'll realise everything's okay.
So would you, with that in mind, you've got Portsmouth at home at the weekend in the Cup. Now, let's be really, really honest. Against Portsmouth at home, you want to be resting Kane, Son, Højbjerg, but your Romero, these players that have played a lot. You want to be resting them. Would maybe the flip be, the equivalent of, Savva, get your lines out. Maybe reverse that for Son in this particular game. He scored his goal. Let him play against Portsmouth. I know it's only Portsmouth. Let him get his shooting boots back. grab a couple of goals, get that confidence flowing through him, ready for Arsenal, or would you rest him for the Arsenal game?
Nah, play him. I don't think he looks tired. I think he just needs to be smacking small goals in. So I think if we do manage to get a poor Portsmouth side coming in the FA Cup, good time to him and hit a few more in.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to resting and rotating players for the sake of it. I think you should just take it on case per case merits. If they're looking tired, give them a rest. If they're not, let them play. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, surely.
Well, talking of people that look tired and need a rest, Danny Kiriakou looks like he's just had an all-night boozy session. Are you all right, mate?
No, I'm good. Yeah, I've just been cleaning, mate. I've got my flight soon back home, so just getting ready, mate.
Nice.
Repping it for the YWC, mate.
Same to you, Kuma. Same to you, brother.
Just on this conversation, I don't know if you heard that, Danny. I mean, Heung-min Son, do you play him against Portsmouth for confidence? Do you rest him so he's fit for Arsenal? What's the plan?
It's a hard one because I think, like, when he's just scored a goal, the one thing you want to do is try and keep that momentum with him.
Yeah.
And maybe if you play him against Portsmouth, he might go and get a couple of goals because, let's face it, they're not a good team, right? No disrespect to Portsmouth, but we should be spanking this sort of team, right? With the players that we have, we should be getting another 4 or 5 goals on Saturday. Give the families, give the kids something to cheer about. Yeah. And maybe Son, if it was me, I'd probably start him. Hopefully, we can actually start fast for once, get a couple of goals, and then take him off. That's ideally what you got. And then maybe bring on like some Alfie Devines or Harvey Whites once you've gone 3 goals up or something.
I mean, guys, I was going to say this to you. I mean, first of all, what sort of team do you think he's going to pick for Portsmouth? Second of all, with all the injuries we've got, and we're seeing like 95 defenders on the sub bench, would you like to see maybe a Jamie Donnelly, a Lancashire, someone completely like a really young player from the youth teams who plays up front, be on the bench? You're 3-4-0 up against Portsmouth. Give them their 15 minutes, see what they can do. Do you think? I mean, is that Conte? Would you do that?
I would definitely do that because if you're 3 or 4-0 up against a Portsmouth team, I mean, it's very, very unlikely. I mean, we know it's Spurs, but it's very unlikely that we're going to go and lose that game. And I think you need to kind of rest some of our players who like our big players. So I'm sure Kane's going to start because let's face it, it's a competition that this club should be competing for, and it's something that we should be competing to try and win. We're in the competition. Why not try go for it, right? Antonio Conte's won it before, so he knows what it's like to win an FA Cup, and he knows what it would mean to the fans to win an FA Cup. So he can't, from the start, go and play the youngsters because, let's face it, our youngsters are not good enough, right? In my honest opinion, they're not good enough to go and beat a Portsmouth team. But maybe as the game goes on, if you're 2 or 3 goals up, then maybe you can bring 1 or 2 of them on and just see what they can, give them some minutes, get some rest for the players, and give them a bit of confidence. I mean, look, Harvey White got his debut yesterday in the Premier League, which is nice to see. Obviously, it's not like I don't expect Conte to keep using him consistently. I think the ones that I think that Conte is seeming to kind of take a liking to more and more lately is Sarr and is Brian Hill.
Yeah,
and I just want to touch on Savva, what you were saying. You guys were talking about earlier about Sarr and Hill. I completely agree with you, Sav, what you're saying about them 2 players. I think the fan base does need to just calm down a bit on these players because, first of all, Brian Hill, right? Everyone knows that he's got talent, right? But doesn't mean that he's been good for us. He's got talent, but he's shown it in glimpses at times. And when he has played in the Premier League, he hasn't really shown it. Obviously, he got his first start yesterday, and he did well, right? He assisted the assister twice and got an assist himself. He was lively, right? Yeah. He was lively, but again, he needs, like Conte said in his post-match after, right? He said a lot of really good positive things about Hill, but again, he talked about we need to get him stronger. He needs to be stronger for this league. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to turn into a world beater, but I do think there's potential to be a decent player there. Maybe even a very good player for Spurs if he can strengthen up. Because I know you were talking about Modric as well earlier. Now, I don't know if you guys remember with Modric, when he first came to the league in his first season, he was shocking. He was getting barged off the ball. He looked so lightweight. And then the summer after, right, he come back and he was just this like, it wasn't like a tank or anything, but you could see what the stuff that you were saying he was doing, like he was shielding the ball and his legs got bigger, like his thighs got bigger, and you could see that he was able to kind of his balance and his kind of low center of gravity he was able to kind of hold off people, kind of like how Aguero was and Tevez was, these type of like kind of players who got really strong legs, and because of that he could kind of do what he did and become the player he was. And I think with Hill, I think if he does get that strength, I think he can be a very good player for us. And he might shock a lot of people, but it's way too early to kind of go on this bandwagon and try to say that.
Do you know what, Danny? This is the thing for me. I'm all for when you've got a young player like that, unless they are. I mean, like for example, when a Phil Foden bursts onto the scene and stays on the scene, you go, wow, right? When a Haaland, even like a Declan Rice, you can tell. Other players, they're young, it could go either way. And I'm one of these that I just don't want to build these players up, because I remember 3-4 years ago, people were going, oh, don't worry, don't need to give Jose a backup striker. Just put Parrott.
This
is a guy that's been on loan and hasn't scored goals anywhere he's been, right? I think he's got like one goal and about 17 for Ipswich or Preston this season. And it, just because we see glimpses, for me, it's got to be sustainability. It's got to be doing it week in, week out, getting the chance. If you remember at that time, I think, before Redknapp came in, Modric was being used on the left, wasn't he? Out wide on the left.
Yeah,
and then when Harry came in, he switched Bale to left wing, Modric to the middle, and we saw some great football. But Kuva, in terms of the game against Portsmouth, are you expecting wholesale changes? Are we expecting to see Sarr start, Gill start, Harvey White? I mean, Højbjerg's played a lot of games. Are you expecting to skip? What are we doing?
I'm not expecting too many changes. There's one word that always springs to mind with Conte, and that's control. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to want a solid enough base to the team, so he can maybe put one or two players in, but not wholesale changes. He'll have remembered what happened against MS Mura and things like that when you put in a complete squad change and some of the people at the club aren't good enough. I don't think he likes risking the youngsters if there's a chance of them screwing up. I think he wants to protect them from any sort of backlash. So I'm expecting a very strong first 11 out there. Was it Morecambe last year in the FA Cup where we were god awful for about 75 minutes, and then he had to bring on the cavalry to get that game over the line. So I think Ndombele's just about finished getting off the pitch now.
I think in the game against Portsmouth, I do think that we'll probably see a similar lineup. I think maybe like players like Højbjerg might get a rest. He might play Sessegnon again. I don't know if he'll play. I don't think he'll give Spence a chance, but it'd be nice to see him get a game. But
that was going to be my next question was, and I do need to end the show in about 5 minutes. But my last point was going to be this: last night you're seeing Sarr get his game time. We've seen Brian Hill get his game time. We saw Harvey White from nowhere get his game time. Right? Yeah. Tanganga's had his game time recently. Sessegnon's getting game time. Jed Spence can't buy. He can't buy more than a 2-minute cameo at the end of a game, can he? What's the future for this guy? The immediate future for this guy? Does he have to go on loan this window for you guys?
I think, in my opinion, I think it's probably for his own good. I think it'd be best to go on a loan deal. I mean, in the summer, the stuff that I heard from inside was basically that Tottenham tried to send him on loan, but he didn't want to go on loan. He wanted to stay and try and fight for his position, right? Because he believed he was good enough to play in the team, which is fair enough on his behalf. I just think that unless he's getting any kind of, if he's had discussions with Conte or anyone to say, look, if you stay, you've got to work hard and you might get your chance, but there's a chance you might not, then that's his decision. right? But if he's had that discussion and Conte said, look, it's going to be very difficult for you to get chances, right? And he still believes it, then I think he should look at it and look at it with his camp and say, look, well, there might not be a chance I might not get any game time. So I think it's best for me if I can get game time so I can improve and have like a kind of Kyle Walker style loan where he goes to a Premier League team. And I think if he's gonna play for someone, I think he has to play in the Premier League. Otherwise, there is no point him going on loan, in my opinion. And I think it's the same for a lot of our players. I think if any of our youngsters want to actually get into this, like a Skip, for example, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a great player. He's an all right player. He's all right. He's not anything special like you were saying the other day, right? But with these type of players like Skip and Spence, if they're not going to get game time or they're not going to get enough game time for them to progress their careers, then they have to go to a Premier League team where they can play week in, week out, and then we can see where their level can be, and then we can see whether they will actually go into the first team in some point in the future. And I think the Spence, I think he needs to go on loan, but I'm not sure he will. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, the next question then, Kuva, is Jed Spence is an out-and-out right wing back. He is not a right back. Where in the Premier League, I suppose this is one of the issues, Danny, right? Where in the Premier League plays wing backs and he goes and gets minutes? How many?
Brighton?
I mean, are they going to play him over? Because they either play Lamptey there or Solly March plays there every now and then.
Yeah, true.
We're back to this discussion though. I don't buy into this that players are limited to being a wing back or a right back. Yeah. I think he should be able to do either role quite comfortably.
I agree, but is a Premier League club going to look at Jed Spence, who's not done that role before, and go, "That's our guy to take on loan"?
For me, even if they're not viewed as being wing backs, I think the majority of clubs kind of play that way.
Sure.
The fullbacks do get forward quite well, so I don't really think that's an issue. I think the issue is going to be more about, do they trust him with quality and experience?
Yeah.
Because if he's very raw and naive, which he does seem to be, he's exciting, but there's mistakes in him. There will be. He's still a youngster. He's come from lower division as well. He's not accustomed to playing at this highest level yet. So if that's the case, it's a risk for some clubs.
Yeah.
But there's got to be surely somebody out there that's just thinking, you know what? He's got the pace. He's exciting. Yeah. He can take players on.
I can see. I reckon there will be a lot of. I don't disagree with you, Danny. I think it needs to be the Premier League. I reckon what you'll get though is a lot of higher championship clubs that come in for him. And look, again, is that good for him? Is it not? I don't know. But otherwise, what we're going to see is this guy go a whole year without really playing any football. And then we're going to have this all again in the summer. Does he stay? Does he go? If he stays, well, is he going to be given his chance now? Is he going to be given a chance if it's not Conte, who's the manager? You know, all of this up in the air kind of stuff.
Very, very quickly, Tom 81, big up, mate. He's saying back to Forest. There we go. Back to Forest. That would be so funny. That would be so funny.
It
could happen.
Yeah, but just think who's there at Forest at right back at the moment.
Aurier.
Wouldn't it be funny if Aurier is dropped from the team from somebody that can't get into ours?
What if Aurier is swapped back to Spurs?
No, don't, mate. Don't,
listen,
mate.
Nothing.
Look, we just had a win. Just don't ruin it.
Listen.
Sad.
Nothing surprised me. This club, and this very director of football signed Emerson Royal. From now on, I won't laugh at anything as a possibility. I do not trust him. Did you see Emerson when he came in last night and he ran into the corner and he was trying to do that thing where you shield the ball for a second and he tried to do a step over.
Bob,
Savva, even that little cameo was just disgusting. It was just terrible. He's so bad. I feel so sorry for him that the club have actually brought him in so that the fans can take the piss out of him. It's like literally like they brought him in as a comedy act. That's what it feels like. They brought him in as the comedy act so that people can laugh at him and actually have a little bit of joy from someone so bad. It's just, oh my God, it's terrible.
I was doing the watch along with Bob Spur at the time, and when that incident happened, Bob Spurs almost shrieking about it. Just go, did you see that? Did you see that? He tried to do a no-look pass to himself.
By the way, guys,
Can I?
did you see?
Savva, I wanted to ask you. Have you? Go on.
I was really
I
quickly.
was going to ask. Go on.
We're doing that awkward thing. Bradys has just joined Chelsea, like we knew he would. Shut up, Cooper.
Yeah.
Right. He signed a 7.5-year contract.
It's funny.
Our manager signed an 18-month contract. They signed a centre half on 7.5 years. Football's gone mental.
That is insane, man.
Funny enough, I actually think that's a good move.
I do.
Yeah. So do I. Yeah, football has gone mad. But I wonder, Savva, if we were to find out how much they're actually paying him on that 7-year contract, or what his clauses are in his contract. Because I'll tell you what, he'll probably get paid more than what Son's on.
Oh, mate, he's. Let's be fair. If you're going to Chelsea, the first thing your agent's doing is going, they're going to pay you well. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll sort you out some salary. But look, they've now brought in him for Fofana, 2 very good young centre backs. So the future for them looks bright. Maybe not now, but the future.
Yeah. I think they've definitely got a plan with Potter, and I think eventually it will come good once he gets the young players that he wants, and in that system. I think they will. Like you guys were saying earlier, people laugh at Chelsea now. Wait till next season or something like that when they're like flying high, competing with Arsenal, competing with Man City, and then we're still sitting here still talking about 5th and 6th and trying to compete for top 4. But
beginning of the show, Cooper, didn't I? This is the thing. I won't laugh at clubs like Chelsea and Liverpool for having a dip, because we've seen it before. They dip, they come back. They dip. They come back.
What do they always do, Savva? What do those clubs always have in common? They win trophies.
Yeah, they win trophies. They lift trophies. And they will. Listen, I've said to anyone.
I thought you were doing a parachuting thing.
Oh, sorry, my internet just cut out. What I was going to say, what do those clubs always have in common? What do they always do?
Oh, did you miss our whole
parachuting?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Cooper and I did a whole sketch.
I did.
Trophies, man. Look, that's it. I said the other day to someone, listen, we can be above Chelsea right now and glow. I'll put any money you want. They win a trophy before we do.
100%. Oh, 1,000,000%.
Because
even
if we laugh, guys, at Potter, even if people go, "Oh, Potter can't do it," blah blah blah, we'll laugh at that. But Chelsea are ruthless. They'll just go, "Sorry, mate, it's not worked out. Right, where's the manager? Who's the next big thing?" Do you know what I mean? That's the difference between them and us.
I think Potter's a great manager. I just don't think he's going to work at Chelsea. I don't think they're going to have the patience to wait the 3 years or something for him to get all his practices into place.
See, you say that, Cooper, but I think that's the reason they've got Potter in, because they want to go away from this chopping and changing regime that Abramovich have. True. And I think that's why they moved so quickly to get him, because they saw his style of play and they're like, this is the guy we believe that if he gets like an Arteta type project, he's gonna build longevity rather than instant success in 1 or 2 years. He could build a legacy rather, and maybe he can, maybe he can't, but we're gonna find out. But I think that's the reason they brought him in my opinion. And I just wanted to touch up onto what we were saying about where our expectations are. Now, obviously, I don't know if we've got a lot of time to discuss it, but just quickly, these Marcus Edward links. I just want to get your kind of thoughts on it, because I've seen so many fans saying, "Oh, this guy, he'd be amazing to sign for us if he signed for us," and all this kind of stuff. My opinion on this Marcus Edwards stuff is that the guy is just not good enough. He's you can see he's got glimpses of talent, but you've seen it with countless managers, including Poch when he was here, talk about his training. His current manager talks about his training, and his current manager actually said that he doesn't give the same level of dedication to his training that he does when he plays a match, right? What does that tell you? That tells you there's a player that is not determined enough to be the best he can be. And people don't watch the Portuguese league, and they talk like they see one game against Spurs where he takes apart Eric Dyer Davinson Sanchez and Ben Davies, right? It's not fucking hard to take those players apart. And people sit here and talk like he's like the next God-given talent that he's gonna become a superstar, right? In my opinion, I think if Tottenham were to sign someone like him, that just goes to show where our ambition lies. In my opinion, I think there's no ambition there at all.
I think I would love to see him at Tottenham Hotspur. Then I realised it's 2023 and not 2016. I wanted to see Marcus Edwards play when he was coming through the youth team into his home club and say, right, what can he do? Is he good enough? Let's let him excite the crowd and see if he's all, if he's all fart or if there's any shit there. Do you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Now looking at it again, against Spurs, he looked good. He looked brilliant. It was great. But again, as fans, we do this a lot where we see a glimpse of a player and go, oh my God, they're absolutely amazing. For me, I think it's an absolute non-starter. First of all, Daniel Levy having to go and pay for a player that he let go. I just cannot see
I can't see it either.
In any shape or form. I don't see him equally as an Antonio Conte style player. I think Antonio Conte even likes his wide players have to get back, work hard. And again, what you hear a lot about the attitude of Edwards is it's not there. I just think it's a non-starter. I think it's all being linked because of the Pedro Porro links.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's an easy link. I think there are much better players out there to go and get if we had good scouts. I think it's such an easy link.
Savva, if there's one player, they're gonna. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, look, if there's one player that we were going to sign that used to play in our academy, for me it would be Madueke. I think I've seen him this. I mean, he hasn't played a lot this season. Kuva watches the Dutch league like I do as well. And I know he hasn't played too much this season because he's had injury issues, and obviously Gakpo has kind of played in his position a bit more. But from what I've seen of him compared to Edwards, there's much more talent in Madueke than there is in Edwards, in my opinion. And he's got the attitude for it to actually want to be a better player as well. And I want a player who's got the attitude like Kulusevski does. You hear how he speaks about the game, how he always wants to improve. His dedication to being the best is what I want in a player, whether that's a young player or an experienced player. I want someone who wants to be the best all the time, because then that helps drive the whole ambition of the players you play with, right? Like Harry Kane's dedication to wanting to always improve and this and that. And I think someone like Edwards, I don't think is the right player. And it's funny because I'll tell you what, Sav, and both of you guys, there's only one player I remember very vividly in the last sort of 10, 15 years, that a player that played against us, not that we signed him, but there was a player that played against us. Because, Tottenham fans like to do this thing where a player plays against us and they're really good and they want him, this player, right?
Yeah.
There's literally one player who I saw and I thought, this player's going to be a fucking top player. Guess who that player was? It was in the Europa League.
Salah.
Mo Salah. He was the one player that he literally tore us apart in both legs. We got knocked out by Basel, and then all the top teams were linked with him. Chelsea went and bought him. Obviously, that didn't work out too well, but look what happened. The rest is history.
Yeah.
What a player he turned out to be.
Yeah. Kuva, where are you at with this?
Right. I'm going to completely dismiss the whole of those transfer rumours as utter bullshit for financial reasons. First of all, Marcus Edwards, £52 million buyout clause, but we'd only pay 50% of that because we got the 50% sell-on value for him. So 26 million. Porro, what was it, 40 million buyout clause?
45.
So we're talking 71 million for two players. We're currently talking about, we are haggling about Malinovsky over a £17 million transfer.
Yeah.
But we're going to spend 71 on these other two.
Kuva, get it right. It's 13 million. Yeah, fuck off, mate. I'm saying fuck off, mate, because it's less than that, Kuva. It's 13 million we're haggling over.
Yeah, there we go. Absolute bullshit, isn't it? We're trying to get him on loan because the money's too much. There's no chance. Anybody that thinks we're signing anybody over value of about 20 million, good luck with that. That's optimism.
100% agree with that.
is. I mean, guys, look, I do need to wrap up the show there. Just to say, we are now officially today a sixth of the way through the transfer market. A sixth. It just feels like we're watching. I know it's early doors in the market, but every window I feel like we just sit and watch as all these other teams do some bits. And I think what's happening at the moment is a lot of Spurs fans are hoping and praying that another Kulu Bentancur double swoop comes off. How often do they come off? Not very often. Those sorts of signings. But
that's what I was going to say. For optimism for this transfer window will be stay tuned to the Italian media and see if Paratici has turned up in Turin on the 29th.
Yeah.
Is that when he's meant to be going to court? Oh, sorry. Is that? Oh, you meant just in Turin?
Yeah.
Savva, probably both. Probably both, mate.
He'll turn up for the transfers. He'll stay for the charges.
We've seen it before. We've seen all this before. I won't believe anything until I see it. Sky Sports will.
Do you know what, Sam? I've got an idea for what you could discuss in the next show. You could discuss if Paratici does actually end up going back to Juventus or Atalanta, which players are there that actually Spurs could take, that could realistically take, that could improve the team? Maybe that's one for your next show for a question.
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
Juve or Atalanta?
Juve or Atalanta? Oh, sorry, no, you get. That's where Romero was from. But yeah, Juve.
That's it. That's the real question.
Sorry, TR has said, let's be honest, Savva, if Arsenal and Liverpool swapped position, okay, right, just doing that in my head, only 10% of this fan base will be Levy out.
How wrongly you've judged us.
I mean, you're talking to the wrong three people for that.
Mm.
And then I suppose the thing I would say about the figures you've put there is none of us can ever know what is the true percentage of the fan base that is ENIC out or not, right? I don't know. But for me, it's got nothing to do. Look, Arsenal, where they are right now, is horrible to see, right? But for the last 10 odd years, we've been in front of Liverpool, Arsenal in the league, and I still wanted ENIC and Levy out. At some point, I want us to stop being a club that compares ourselves to Arsenal and actually say, what are we doing for Tottenham Hotspur, mate? If Arsenal win the league, it will magnify it for sure. I hear you on that. It magnifies it because then people go, well, hang on, we finished above them last year and they're now league winners. But there's a lot of football to go. Man City are the specialists in putting runs together when they need to. However, look, if City lose tonight, then they're quite a way behind Arsenal. If they win tonight, it's 5 points, and 5 points over 18 games when you're Man City is not a lot. So look, let's
it's definitely not a lot, right? But people forget there's still 20 games to play. We've played 18 in the Premier League, and there's still 20 games. That's half a season, and a lot. Like you said, Sam, so much can happen in half a season. Look at where we were at this point last year.
For sure. So much happened.
The good old days.
The good old days. Sire, just quickly, when Conte wanted Hakimi, Levy got Spence. Conte wanted Bastoni, Levy got Longley. Can you, as chairman, hear the manager opinion? So if not, what's the point of hiring the manager if you keep doing this? Look, first and foremost, I agree with the sentiment. I also agree that I don't think it's just as simple as getting Bastoni and getting Hakimi, because I'm guessing if those two were ever going to agree figures with us, lots of clubs in Europe would go, yeah, we'll have a bit of Hakimi on our right hand side, or we'll have a bit of Bastoni. But I get your sentiment. But what I would say, Si, and I'll say this about the other Spurs managers who have been here as well, this isn't a new concept. This isn't a new concept of a manager asking for a player and getting someone lower. Poch had it numerous times. AVB had it. Ramos had it. The famous Hitchin went to Milan for 2 weeks to bring back Skriniar, diverted on his way back via Swansea and brought us back Rodon. So it's true.
Just hearing it back again is even more ridiculous every time you hear it.
But this is the thing. this is the thing. It's not. I get it, and obviously I want them to back him, but I've got to be true to the other managers as well. This is what every manager has had to deal with. I think if these names here were a bit more realistic, I'm not saying don't bid for an Hakimi because that would be contradictory. But I think if those names were a bit more realistic, so if you had said go and get a Maddison, yeah, I don't see any reason why you can't get a Maddison from Leicester. No disrespect to them. But when we're talking about Hakimi, I truly believe if he did go, I don't think it would be to a Tottenham Hotspur. Sorry, that's just me. I just don't think he would. I think he'd have many
I agree.
Yeah.
Many suitors. But I agree. I think we agree on the main point. Yeah, Dave Clark, I get it. You're saying nobody got these players. I get it. I just think the whole point he's making in general, Sire, is not – he's just using those as an example. Look, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for joining. We'll be doing loads of stuff. Again, go and subscribe to Danny at Tottenham on Tour. They're back. They're doing bits. All of them. Not the best looking group of people, but they're trying their best. They're doing their work. Just kidding. They're beautiful. Go and subscribe to Bobby K and Kuva at the Free Spurs Boys. Kuva and the Kang. Subscribe to this guy. Thank you for all your support.
And can I give a shout out to Shelfside Spurs tonight?
Go for it.
Making a comeback after a hiatus over the World Cup, and I'll be on there with Reds and Ranjit.
What time is it?
I'm not sure who else. That'll be 7:30 start.
Everyone, get yourselves over to Shelfside Spur, 7:30. You will hear lots of ridiculously funny things happen in that time. So please go and join them. Show some love to everyone, and much love. And as always, Danny, do you want to end the show?
And as always, Levy out.
Levy A.